Thank you for joining me, all the people who don't join me yet. It's always awkward when you first start up Twitch, because it's not like people are right there waiting for you. At least I'm not at that point yet where people are right there waiting for me. Maybe one day I'll start up Twitch and I'll be on a schedule and people will like, oh my god, Be Better Gamers here, and I'm like, oh hey guys, how's it going? But usually I just start up Twitch and I have to wait a bit for people to show up. But that's fine. I enjoy it. I enjoy when people show up. You know what? It'll give me time because I have to fix a mistake. Wow, we're at 64% already for the Hardcore Championship. Pretty good. I have to fix a mistake though, because yesterday when I was streaming the Hardcore Championship, I made a boo-boo. The same boo-boo that I made when I was recording the Hardcore Championship for my first Let's Play, for my Hardcore Championship Let's Play, I should say. I made the same exact mistake where I declined the services of the APA, which I'm supposed to do, but then I didn't lose the next match. And that was the same mistake I made the last time when I was doing this for my channel. And I made the same mistake again. I guess you just fall into the rhythm, you know. I forget. I have to constantly look at what I'm doing. But this time, I'm not going to make that mistake. I'm going to win everything, say no to the APA, and then lose the match after that. I win the match against the APA, but I lose the match after that. So I got to make sure not to make that mistake again. And I played as Farouk yesterday, but I'm playing as Chyna right now. Because why not? Chyna, next year she's getting into the Hall of Fame. I think so. Who else are they gonna put in? They're running out of women to avoid the Chyna conversation. And I think it's just, I mean, Triple H has said he wants her to go in. Stephanie McMahon even said she would go in eventually. You know? I think they've just been holding out for, you know, their reasons, but I think she deserves it. I think she'll go in. I think it's unfortunate that she's going in after the fact, after her passing away, because I think that would have helped her a lot. You know, she seemed like she needed help, and just didn't have a good support system around her. So, but you know, it's well deserved. Her memory should live on in a positive way. We shouldn't remember how she left this world. We should remember her for what she did while she was on this world. And I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it. WrestleMania is going to be in the tri-state area next year. It's going to be back to the MetLife Stadium. Maybe I'll get tickets for that. Yeah, right. Not going to happen. Unless I blow up. Unless I blow up in this world of Twitch and YouTube and get some money. I don't know when I'll go to a WrestleMania. It's on my bucket list. It's on my bucket list to go to a WrestleMania, but I've never been to a WrestleMania. I always thought when I used to live in New York City, you know, because I grew up in New York City, I always thought like, oh yeah, I'll go to WrestleMania one day because, you know, they were having it every 10 years at MSG, but they stopped that at WrestleMania 20. They stopped that at WrestleMania 20, and WrestleMania 29 they came back, you know, to the New York area, but they went to MetLife Stadium because now they only do stadiums because they're so big. They only do stadiums. So I don't know when I'll ever go to a WrestleMania. You know, it's always an adventure. It's always a trip to go to one of these days. You know, where I am, I don't think they'll ever host a WrestleMania unless we get a new stadium, which has been talked about for ages now, wanting to build a new stadium for the Buffalo Bills, but I don't see that happening unless the Bills actually start, you know, playing well enough to deserve a new stadium. But then again, I don't know. I don't really look at other teams that get new stadiums to see if they're actually doing well enough to get stadiums. That'd be interesting to look into. But it's been a hot topic around here in Buffalo for the past couple of years. Ever since I moved up here, I feel like there's always been discussion to bring a new stadium. Where they want to do it sort of by the harbor, which would be convenient, especially for everyone coming in from over the border from, you know, Canada. That'd be especially convenient. and it'd be right next to the arena that we already have where the Sabres play. So it would just be like a mecca of you know, football. You have this big new stadium, and then this other arena where all the concerts and hockey plays and stuff like that. And like, you know, I think that would be a good idea, but there's a lot of other stuff I feel like that needs to be taken care of in Buffalo first before they decide on a new stadium. You know, mainly like the public transportation and fixing up a lot of the housing. So, you know, let the Bills play in their stadium for now, their old stadium. And, you know, the taxpayers always get caught up with that bill anyway. So it's, you know, the longer we could probably wait for a stadium, the better. But that probably means I'll never get to see a WrestleMania close by. I always have to travel to a WrestleMania. And if they ever go back to Canada for WrestleMania, I could potentially travel there, because Toronto is only 2 hours away. So that's not too bad. So I could do that, but I'm trying to think like what other. I'm gonna have to actually do research. Maybe somewhere in Ohio. I don't know if they've ever held a WrestleMania in Ohio, but maybe somewhere in Ohio they could do a WrestleMania, and I could travel up to there because Ohio's not too far. I've been to Cleveland a couple of times. I actually saw a WWE live show in Cleveland. It was pretty fun. And I saw a few concerts. Saw the Killers up in Cleveland. That was cool. My wife and I went. That was great. So, yeah. I don't know. WrestleMania, man. It's on my bucket list, but it's like now it seemed more realistic when I was younger to go. Because it was always popular, but now it's like an event. Now it's like, and you know, honestly, like what interests me more so than WrestleMania these days is everything that happens surrounding WrestleMania. All the different wrestling companies that come out, all the different wrestlers from all the different promotions. You know, Ring of Honor is there, PWG's there. Now this year we got Lucha Underground versus Impact. They're gonna be around WrestleMania weekend. New Japan is sending people over. There's just so many conventions, so many events going on. It's like a wrestling convention. WrestleMania weekend, and it's really cool, and that kind of interests me more than going to WrestleMania, because it probably would be more affordable to go to those shows, even though they all seem to sell out very quickly because space is so limited. But B, you know, it's WrestleMania is something I talked about in the last stream. WrestleMania, especially with WWE, with their big events, like you want to look forward to their big events like WrestleMania. You want to look forward to their big events like Royal Rumble, SummerSlam. But there's always a potential that even if on paper the card looks good, there's always a potential that WWE might do something just stupid for the sake of doing it, like, or shocking for the sake of doing it, and it kind of like sours the event. So you want to like temper your expectations. At least that's what I do for myself. I mean, I've been watching wrestling my whole life. I've been watching WWE my whole life. And I think more so with any company, I'm like more cautious when it comes to WWE. You know, because if New Japan, like for example, Strong Style Evolved this weekend, they finally released the full card. And on paper, that card looks great. It's like, oh, sweet. You know, you got the Young Bucks, Kenny Omega, and Ibushi, which we knew about. But you got some other cool matches there too as well. And, you know, you look at it on paper and it's like, oh, this event looks great. And you know, because it's New Japan, when you go see it, the event's going to be great. It looks as good. It ends up being as good as it was on paper. And then sometimes better. And the same thing could be said about Ring of Honor. Same thing could be said about, you know, Progress. They have good cards. You know, who else? Like, are you looking on a paper? I mean, Ring of Honor and New Japan are like the constants. PWG, man, you look at their lineup, especially for like Bola, and it's like, oh, this Bola is gonna be great, and then it is, and then sometimes it's better than you thought it was gonna be. But with WWE, it's like, oh yeah, this card looks great. How are they gonna mess it up? You know, and it's just you know, I think sometimes they you know, they shoot themselves in the foot a lot of the times. They do things that kind of like sour. But you know, like this past Royal Rumble is a perfect example where it's like on paper it could have been a solid Royal Rumble, you know, but all the matches besides the Royal Rumble matches fell kind of flat. But the Royal Rumble matches is good, but with the Royal Rumble every year is like, oh, this is gonna be the best Royal Rumble ever, and then like it just, you're watching and it's like, all right, this is, I've checked out 10 entrants ago. But this year too, it's like everyone was like, oh, I want Nakamura to win, I want Finn Balor to win, you want all these people to win, and then you're watching it, and the whole time you're just like keeping your hype levels down, because it's like, you see Cena, you see Roman Reigns, and it's like, well, they're going to give it a Cena Roman Reigns. And then they don't. And then it's like, finally, one year they listened. They got it right. So for me, it was very thrilling, because I kept my hope and my expectation down. And I was like, Nakamura is not going to win. No, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. And then it happened. And I was like, yes, so excited that he won. Finally, he won. And, you know, I think it's better to do that with WWE, to like kind of just play it cool, play it chill. It's like, yeah, this WrestleMania looks good. Yeah, Daniel Bryan's coming back. All right, cool. Yeah, all right, whatever. You know, like, but deep down, you're like super excited, and you're like hoping for the best thing ever. But you don't wanna let that come out, because I don't know, my heart's been broken too much by WWE, and I think the only thing that keeps me watching it, the only thing that keeps me sane, is the fact that, you know, it's wrestling. I love wrestling. I'm always going to love wrestling. And I watch so many things outside of WWE that it balances it out. But, you know, I'm always going to come back to WWE, because it's what I grew up with. It's the #1 promotion. It's got it still has a lot of my, you know, guys that I like. And I still have a soft spot. I'm still always hopeful that every WrestleMania is going to be great, that every SummerSlam is going to be great, every Survivor Series, even though Survivor Series hasn't been great in a long time. You know, I'm always hopeful that it's going to be great. And you just have to kind of like stick with it, because, you know, when they do have those moments, they're worth it. They're worth it, and they kind of make up for all the, you know, crap that goes on for the whole year. It doesn't make up completely, but it makes up at least in that moment. And that's how I feel about this year's WrestleMania. Like, on paper, honestly, on paper, it looks really good. It looks better than it has been in the past few years. Even if we're going back to the last time they were in New Orleans, I think on paper this year's WrestleMania looks really good, better than last year's last year's and the year before that. I mean, there's so many matches, so many matches that feel like a WrestleMania, you know what I mean? So many, like John Cena, Undertaker, obviously that feels like a WrestleMania. You know, Daniel Bryan's return feels like a WrestleMania moment. Nakamura and AJ Styles feels like a WrestleMania main event. You know, especially since we haven't seen them really go at it in WWE. You know, even though obviously the Wrestle Kingdom match was amazing. But like, you know, even stuff like with the New Day and the Usos getting onto the card. You know, Finn Balor, Rollins, and Miz gonna be in that triple threat, which I think is gonna be really good. Because let's not forget, I mean, what was it, last year or the year before that? That 4-way with like Miz. Who was it? It was Miz. Oh man, it was Miz. I want to say Sami Zayn, Owens, and then Cesaro. I think that was the 4-way. That was really good. So I have that kind of vibe. Like, that's gonna be like the workhorse match. You know what I mean? You know, Asuka against Charlotte. Like, you really, even Triple H, Ronda Rousey, like that feels like a WrestleMania match too. You know what I mean? It would be weird if it was like on a Backlash or like a secondary pay-per-view. So it feels big. It feels like a spectacle. It feels like what you would expect for WrestleMania. The only thing I can see really messing it up is they don't get the pacing and the timing down, which is something I felt like was the problem with last year's WrestleMania. Last year's WrestleMania, I felt like could have been a lot better if the pacing and the timing for all the matches was just a little bit better. I just felt like some matches just didn't have as much time as they maybe should have, and some matches went on a lot longer than they should have, and there was too much stuff thrown in between. You know, I understand they're like become this sort of like event, this like spectacle, but like, you know, it's also like this is your chance to put on like really great wrestling. I think that's why Wrestle Kingdom has been getting better over the years, because they just been putting the focus more and more on great wrestling and really building towards those matches. And that's something that WWE doesn't do with their WrestleMania. They don't really build to the matches. They build to it kind of quickly because, again, it's like, well, this is WrestleMania, so of course we're going to have Cena, Undertaker. And they don't do a year-long Cena-Undertaker feud. They do it in the last 3 weeks. So that's the only thing I still kind of gripe about with WrestleMania, how everything sort of just comes up suddenly, with a few exceptions. Actually, if you think about it, Nia Jax and Bliss has been going on for most of the year. That's been kind of bubbling to the surface. Nakamura winning the Royal Rumble, that gives it enough time. The Royal Rumble winner always has pretty much enough time to build the feud. And it's already established because you win the Royal Rumble. I am burning through these matches with Chyna. Chyna is OP in WWF No Mercy. Can we just praise Chyna for a little bit? How good she is in this game. Okay, here, let's remember. What do I have to do? I have to say no to the APA, then win the match, and then lose the next match. Okay, because that's what I did wrong yesterday. And it's the same thing I always do wrong, because I get caught in the groove. So I have to say no, and then win the match. And this could be sometimes difficult to win the match against the API. I've been playing this game. Oh my god, this game came out in 2000. I've been playing this game pretty much every year since 2000. Not 24/7, but especially with when I started this channel, I've been picking up again pretty regularly. But I've been playing it not pretty much the whole 18 years this game has been come out. I always revisit it. It's like that book. It's like when people reread books every year. I play No Mercy every year, amidst all the other games I'm playing. And even to this day, man, these handicap matches, you got to be on your A game. I got to really focus and pay attention. And there's a lot of tricks to help you succeed, but it's all about momentum. It's all about momentum. And you let the momentum go just for a little bit, and it's just an uphill battle, and it can be quite tedious. The benefit of fighting these guys backstage, though, as opposed to starting in the ring, because I think starting the handicap matches in the ring is that you have more room to run away, more room to get away. But even something like that is scary, where they could just both double team you, because once they start getting those double team maneuvers, and then especially if you're getting up slowly, that could be just super dangerous situation. But basically, see, I should have blocked that, But basically, it's you just gotta, it's all about the timing. And I'm getting double teamed right now. That's not good. Uh-oh. See? And it's just like this. It's just this constant double team that hurts you. But basically, once one person hits you, the other person will. So you gotta have to kind of be quick. Unfortunately, they always try to throw you to the ring, which sometimes buys you time to regroup and readjust your what you're doing, and to redo the spacing. There you go. That's what I like to see. I like to see those counters. Get him. Oh man, it's so much focus right now. But yeah, so it's gonna be interesting. I'm actually, the more I think about WrestleMania, the more I get excited. But I'm really looking forward to this weekend. Strong Style Evolve. They finally released the card, and I took a look at the card, and it seems pretty solid. I just have to see if they're gonna do it live on New Japan World, because I believe they did it live on New Japan World last year, but I didn't watch it live for whatever reason. I couldn't remember why I couldn't watch it live. I just watched it the next morning, which I usually do for all the New Japan stuff anyway. Like yesterday, I was watching the New Japan Cup finals, especially because normally when they do the stuff live, it's 3 a.m. Eastern, and there's no way I'm staying up just to watch, New Japan. I love New Japan, but I also need to sleep. I'll just watch it in the morning. The glory of on demand. Just how far we've come to watching stuff online and things like that. It's great, especially with the way wrestling is now. I saw someone put a tweet. I forgot who it was, but someone put a tweet real talk. Can we just talk about how much easier it was to consume wrestling back in the day when it was just all VHS tapes. And he's like, and the person was like, I'm overwhelmed with all the choices I have. Like, I go on YouTube and I feel overwhelmed. And it's like a good problem to have, I guess. You know what I mean? like talk about first world problems. Like, the fact that there's too much good wrestling available and it's so easily accessible. You know, whether on YouTube, whether off the streaming services, like even like the WWE Network. I've been signed up to the WWE Network since the beginning, and I feel like I still haven't even like scratched the surface. Like, I'm always watching new stuff on there, and they're always adding like stuff. They're always adding stuff. They just added Thunder. You know, even the other day I was doing some research and I stumbled upon a match, an ECW match actually, where they showed Shane Douglas wrestling Geto in Japan, and I was like, what? I didn't know this happened. Like, you know. And then there was another ECW match in Japan. I forgot who it was, but it's just like you just always find these like things like that, and it's like what? I didn't know those two wrestled. I didn't know that happened, and especially with older stuff, with stuff like in the 90s and the 80s, you know, because as a kid, you don't really realize what was going on in wrestling around you. You know what I mean? You don't really know exactly who people were, and it wasn't until I got older that I started like connecting the dots. It's like, oh, that's who Stan Hansen is. Oh, that's who Vader is. You know, and so that's what the network for me is really good for. And then even like for stuff like this, like, you know, when I'm trying to get hyped up for WrestleMania, I'll go and I'll watch a lot of the old WrestleMania stuff. And there's just so much. There's so much to watch. And then like, you not only don't want to stop with WrestleMania, you was like, oh, well, then they had that match at WrestleMania, but then they had this match at Backlash. And then they had this match a few months later. And it's like, you just fall down the rabbit hole. And that's just with the network. You know, New Japan World, the same thing. On YouTube, it's the same thing. It's a good problem to be in. It's a good problem to have. It's a great time to be a wrestling fan. Not just a WWE fan. Even though WWE hasn't been at its best, they have a great roster, but they haven't been at its best ever. But it's still a great time to be a WWE fan, I think, because of the network, and all the options it opens up for you if you are a WWE fan, a lifelong WWE fan. But, you know, just be a wrestling fan in general with the accessibility. Because I remember how hard it was to get your hands on stuff, and you know, a lot of my you know, sort of my gateway to Japanese wrestling, to Mexican wrestling, to European wrestling was through Virtual Pro Wrestling, was through the Aki, you know, Virtual Pro Wrestling games, and that's when I really started to seek out, you know, all the wrestlers who were in those games. And fortunately, those games had such a big roster, and then Fire Pro as well, because Fire Pro had even a bigger roster. And so I would basically, like, you know, when we would go to our places where we would get tapes, I would pick up those compilations, you know, like best of Kenta Kobashi, best of Misaharu Masawa, you know, best of, you know, all these people, Hayabusa, the junior heavyweights, Jushin Thunder Liger, and then you see them wrestle certain people, and then you're like, well, who's that? Who's this person? Who's that person? Who's, you know, and it's just kind of that. But, you know, you couldn't just go online and just watch stuff on YouTube. You know, back then you would have to buy another tape that would cost like $20. And so like the benefit to that is like you didn't get overwhelmed, because, you know, the limited accessibility sort of like helped maintain, you know, I guess the way the content, you consume the content. But now it's just like you could just literally sit at your computer for hours at a time and not even scratch the surface. Why didn't I counter that? I was such a better meter than him. Oh no, they're gonna double team me. Counter this. Why am I not countering any of this? My momentum was going so well there. I do have a comeback meter. I should be just doing that. I'm over here trying to do strong grapples. Got a comeback meter. Come on, Chyna. Just beat him up. It's the one benefit of when you have the comeback meter, is it definitely helps out in handicap matches. Don't you dare. Oh, I thought he was gonna like whip me again. Oh, come on. Really? I should have wasted come on. I can still do it. If I can hit Farouk, yes. and then I could hit Bradshaw with a weak A, and then I could probably pin Farouk. Nope. Maybe if I hit it with a weak B, and then I could probably pin Farouk. If Farouk doesn't get up, Farouk got up. All right, it's all right. I'm gonna get my special back up fairly quickly. Just gotta keep the spacing now. Spacing is even more important. He's gonna whip me. No, he's not. He's gonna do that. And oh, come on, don't do that. There we go. Here we go. This is gonna be it. I feel it. And Bradshaw's gonna what? He's gonna try to grab me. Oh, he's gonna run into me. Farouk, stay down. Yes. All right. I'm winning this. I'm winning this. Perfect. I'm winning this. Awesome. But now I gotta lose. I gotta lose the next match. Remember that. Gotta lose the next match. I have to constantly tell myself so I don't forget. Chapter 7. Alright. Nope, that's not what I want to do. Alrighty. I hope there's DQ. That's probably not DQ though, because we're in the Hardcore Championship. Yep, no DQ. Hardcore. No. Alright, well he could probably counter me into like a small package or something. But yeah, man, Strong Style Evolved. Let's look at this. Let's look at this lineup while we lose this match. You got Kenny Omega, Kota Ibushi versus Young Bucks. Great. Jay White against Hangman Page. Great. That was already public. I already knew about that one happening. Then we got Okada and Ishii versus Zack Sabre Jr. and Minoru Suzuki. That should be fun. That should be really good. I hope they give that one a lot of time because it's interesting. Like, it's like, I know Naito and Suzuki are sort of feuding, but Suzuki also, I think, wants a little bit, he wants to take on Okada as well. So, but Ishii and Suzuki have been kind of feuding. So, and then Zack Sabre Jr. just won the New Japan Cup. So that's going to be really good. Jushin Thunder Liger against Will Ospreay. Will Ospreay replacing Rey Mysterio Jr. I was excited for that match. You know, they hadn't fought. They fought at Starrcade like so long ago, and that was when Rey Mysterio was still very early on in his career. Obviously, they're both not in their prime, but they can both still go. Especially like, you know, Jushin Liger amazes me. Like, I was surprised last year was his last junior heavyweight tournament because I feel like it was his last junior heavyweight tournament. Is you know, best of the Super Junior tournament, but like every match he was in was really good and exciting. And I actually expected him to put up a lot more points. I know they do the thing usually when like it's their last tournament, they lose, but I don't know. I think it would have been a great story if Jushin Liger got to the finals or almost to the finals. Like, that would have been great because he can still go, and Rey Mysterio can still go. So it's unfortunate. I'm sure they'll. You know, it would be cool if they postpone it until this year's Super Junior tournament, and they do it like at the finals, or if they do it what's after Super Junior? King of Pro Wrestling? Is that after Super Juniors? I think King of Pro Wrestling. I always forget the names. But that'll be cool if they do it at the big follow-up event where they have the junior heavyweight champion challenge the winner, or the winner challenge the champion. But we'll see it. I think we'll see it again because now all the hype was built around it. Or maybe when they come back, because they said they were going to come back to LA this year, or they were going to come back to Long Beach this year. They were going to come back to the US twice. Maybe they'll do it again when they come back. Because it was a bicep injury, but it just doesn't seem like it's going to be a long one. It's just he just won't be able to compete for the next month or so. And apparently he's going to miss his WrestleMania dates too, which suck. Because it seems like he was going to be doing some stuff around WrestleMania weekend. And, you know, that's unfortunate because that's a lot of money to miss out on. And then what else? We got Tanahashi and Kushida and Dragon Lee and Taguchi versus Sana versus basically Los Ingobernables. That should be cool. Where's Evil? Is Evil injured? I haven't seen Evil lately. He wasn't in the New Japan Cup, and he's not booked for this event. I gotta look up what happened to Evil, if he got hurt or something. And then, why am I facing Al Snow in the finals? And then Cody Rhodes and Marty Scurll versus Guerrillas of Destiny. That should be good. I think the fans are really gonna react to that one, especially over there in Long Beach. That should be cool. And I wonder who's gonna win that one. It's got to be Cody Rhodes and Scurll, right? I don't know. It'd be kind of interesting if they had an upset. Chuck Taylor and Toru Yano versus KES. That should be entertaining. I love the jokes that Chuck Taylor is talking about. How, like, you know, Daniel Bryan came back, and then like Chuck Taylor on Twitter was like, "Hey, Daniel Bryan, you know, I was PWGP champion and I'm booked in Ring of Honor. Like, you got to come back to the Indies. It's really gone to shit." Like, and then he put out another tweet. He's like, "Key to success in this business: if you wait long enough, all your friends who are really good get signed to WWE. So then everyone on the Indies and New Japan have to book you." I just love how self-deprecating he is, but you know, he's pretty good. I don't Chuck Taylor, he sells himself short, man. He's very entertaining. Then you got Ghetto and Goto against Juice Robinson and David Finlay. I think Juice Robinson is gonna get a lot of love from the crowd. That should be fun. And then Roppongi 3K and Rocky Romero against Christopher Daniels, Frankie Kazarian, and Scorpio Sky. I thought that was actually really cool that Christopher Daniels and Frankie Kazarian are going to be on this show. I mean, obviously New Japan and Ring of Honor, they always have a good agreement, but I want, to see them against Roppongi 3K. That would be really cool. So yeah, I think it's going to be solid. I think it's going to be up and down, a really great card. It's really the New Japan roster, especially the Japanese new wrestlers, especially. I feel like when they wrestle in the States, they get so excited, and they just bring a different energy with them, and they deliver so well. I think that's what made the Ishii and Kenny Omega match last year so good. Was just that all the wrestlers, you see it, Naito, Tanahashi, everyone, they just get so pumped that they're there. So it's gonna be really cool, and the fans, they do a good job of making them feel like they're home, or even better than home, because they're not sitting on their hands the whole time. They're cheering, they're being loud, and I think the Japanese fans, they thrive in it, because it's a different experience for them. So I'm very excited this weekend. Strong Style Evolve. Let me know, what you people think about it, because I'm pumped. I'm excited. Bam. Power bomb. Should I do a super power bomb? Just cuz? I think she does a super power bomb. I think she does. If not, I just wasted a special. Yes, she does. Oh no, she does a Hurricanrana. Okay. I guess that makes sense. She's done one before, right? I don't remember. I've seen so many Chyna matches, but I always forget stuff like that. There you go. I lost the match, right? Yeah, I lost the match. I lost the match, won it, and now we'll move on. Bam. Sweet. Who am I gonna pick next? I've been picking champion people who have never been hardcore champion, basically, to win the hardcore championship. And I'm running out of options because there's a whole lot of people that have been hardcore champion. That's why I picked Chyna. I also picked Chyna because she's badass in this game. This is really good. All right, let me look at my checklists. Gotta keep check of what I'm doing on stream, so I don't repeat the same stuff. But let's go. Oh wait, no. I gotta win a match. Let's gotta win a match. We gotta change hands. Let's go to SmackDown. We gotta change hands. Hardcore Championship. Who has never been Hardcore Champion? Rikishi? Rikishi's been Hardcore Champion, I think. Right? You know what? I don't think Rikishi's been Hardcore Champion. I wouldn't mind playing as Rikishi, honestly. Let me see. Rikishi. Can't remember. You would think I would remember all this stuff. As much wrestling as I watch and all the research I did, you'd think I'd be like an encyclopedia, but I just forget everything. Rikishi was never Hardcore Champion. Okay, I'll do Rikishi. Fellow Hall of Famer, Rikishi. Since we're in Hall of Fame mood, I like playing as Rikishi too. I did a Let's Play with Rikishi for the Intercontinental Championship, I believe. That was fun. That was fun playing that because I got to explore. I got to talk about basically, you know, how hot he became, how popular he became, and then how it kind of all went downhill when they turned him heel. You know, and that was like one of those situations where sometimes turning a popular babyface heel doesn't work out, especially under the circumstances. It was so far-fetched, you know, that he was the driver that hit Stone Cold, and it was just like, really? It's the best you can come up with? Definitely felt after the fact. I think originally it was supposed to be Triple H all along, which just made sense, you know, but then they try to do the whole thing where it's like, oh, let's make it different, let's make it shocking. And they decided to go with Rikishi because he was popular at the time. They thought that would be a good idea, and they thought there was something there with like The Rock and Rikishi they could do, but it just didn't work out. And it was just all downhill from there. It was all, they just couldn't recover the momentum of Rikishi, and it's a shame because I always thought Rikishi was pretty good in the ring. He was pretty talented. He was fun to watch. But oh well, that should be a subject for my fantasy booking. I want to do this fantasy booking series that I'm gonna start soon with WrestleMania. Next week or so, I should have it done. But my WrestleMania fantasy booking. But I want to explore, you know, sort of like rewriting history, just doing things differently, and like, what if Rikishi wasn't the driver? You know, what if it was someone else? Maybe even pulling someone from outside of WWE. That would have been really cool if it was like maybe someone from WCW or something at the time. That would have been interesting to explore, to look at, to see who it could have been. You know, cut out the whole like, oh, a person had blonde hair. I would cut that out. I would just make it something different. Yeah. It's interesting though that they went like, you know, like it's funny because like I feel like they don't do that anymore. I feel like they don't do that like if someone needs to take a break for injury, like they let people know it's an injury now, whereas before they used to write you off the show, you know? Which I don't know what I prefer, you know. I don't know. I don't know if like the older wrestling fan in me is like, yeah, man, when someone's hurt, like they should make it into a storyline. But then like the modern day wrestling fan is like, I don't care as long as the guy is healthy and comes back okay. Like you know, I get it. He got hurt wrestling. Yeah, like you don't need to like work it into a storyline or an angle. So it's like, you know, it's torn because, you know, wrestling's changed. It's like it's not completely necessary anymore to do that. But the only thing is that the downside to not making it an angle anymore, I think, is that all the returns are the same for everyone. So when they do it now, it's like, oh, you know, Finn Balor got hurt, Rollins got hurt, you know, so and so got hurt. Everything's the same. It's like, oh, I got hurt right when I was like, you know, really getting hot, and now my road to recovery is really tough, and you know, it's gonna be great when I get back there and really show the world that, you know, nothing's changed. I'm still as good as I always been. I'll come back better than ever. Like, everyone has like the WWE 24 documentary now, and everyone has like this. It's all very much the same song and dance. Whereas when you made it part of the storyline, part of an angle, it made the injuries very specific, and it made the people involved very specific, so that when someone came back, they came back specifically to attack someone. You know, I guess, the Tommaso Ciampa and the Johnny Gargano is sort of did that. You know, they sort of did that, but like it was weird because, you know, Ciampa got hurt basically going into that match and did the match knowing probably that he's going to have surgery after the match, but they still did the thing where he attacked him. And then, you know, they both disappeared because Gargano got hurt too, and Gargano had to leave, so they both got hurt. But when they came back, they definitely played up the fact that Ciampa was gone because he was injured. So yeah, it was different. I guess it was different in that circumstances because Ciampa turned on him. He didn't get injured because of Gargano. You know, he got injured because of just like, you know, doing all the tag team matches and getting injured in one of the matches. But still doing the ladder match with Authors of Pain, which was a fantastic match. And then coming back from the injury, but after having, you know, his last moments was being that big betrayal. So there was still an angle there setting up Ciampa's return, but it makes you wonder what that angle would have looked like if neither one of them got hurt, you know? So they sort of worked it into the angle, but it was a little bit different. I'm talking about, like, you know, like when, you know, yeah, like, you know, someone hit Stone Cold with a car, so now Stone Cold's back. Last time we saw him, he got hit with a car. It wasn't like we saw this documentary of like, oh, Stone Cold, everything was riding high, and then boom, he's got to go get neck surgery or whatever. And, you know, then we're watching his struggle, you know, I guess it depends. Like, you know, it depends on, like, you know, because when Triple H, I guess because it worked for Triple H so well when he did that, you know, when he did that whole, like, oh, I got hurt during the match, and then I finished the match, and then when I came back, you know, everyone was really excited because I worked really hard to come back, you know, because it was a freak accident. I shouldn't have gotten hurt. So I don't know. I guess maybe it just depends on the character. It depends on the wrestler. You know, when someone gets hurt. And, you know, maybe sometimes you don't really know if the person who hurt you, you don't really know what their trajectory is going to be. But I'm kind of like old school. I'm kind of like, look, the whole thing with like Eddie Edwards and Sami Callihan, all right? Look at that whole thing. How, like, you know, a lot of people were getting on Sami Callihan for making a shirt like, oh, I broke Eddie Edwards' nose, and, you know, and all this stuff. And it's like, I kind of think that's cool, because then when Eddie Edwards comes back, you have a match that people are interested in. You know what I mean? It's like, there you go. That's money right there. And, you know, for Sami Callihan to, you know, keep, not only is he like, you know, coming out of it looking like, oh, look how dangerous I am, you know, I hurt this guy and I don't care. Not only is he making him, you know, building up his character, but he's also keeping Eddie Edwards relevant. You know, I just got beat by Chyna, y'all. Just could not get any momentum going. Maybe that's a sign. Maybe I should have used Rikishi, because Rikishi just couldn't get it done. I'll try it one more time. To beat Chyna. I don't know what it was. It just could not beat Chyna right there. It's hard with the super heavyweights too, man. Super heavyweights to get momentum, but she was just countering everything. I just could not get a move in edgewise. But watch this match be a little bit better. Sometimes I do that. Sometimes I just lose a match. And I'm like, okay, and then the next match I win. Not as much of a struggle, but look, there she goes. She's just countering everything again. But yeah, you know, I kind of like that. I'm kind of like old school in that way, where it's like you're still making that feud relevant, even though the other person is gone, because you're reminding people like, oh, I did this to so and so, I did this to Eddie Edwards, I did this to Eddie Edwards, and then, like, you know, a month later, 3 months later, or whenever, when that person comes back, you've been hearing them all the time, and it's like, when they come back, it's like, yes, finally, and then the fans are super excited, and then it helps bring that person back, You know what I mean? So I see the upside to it. See, look at the momentum meter all the way up because she's been able to do just a few back suplexes. Definitely playing with super heavyweight is kind of a handicap. And like I said, Chyna's OP. Look, she's gonna destroy me. Oh my goodness, this is bad. This is bad. I'm getting squashed by the computer. Oh, kick out. Saved it. Saved it right now. How am I gonna come back? Hold on, I gotta check something real quick. Just checking something real quick. Whatchamacallit? Yeah, so I'm like kind of old school in that sense, where I think it helps the feud, you know. I think it helps the person coming back. It helps the person returning. I mean, just think of like, when Edge got hurt and then he came back and he attacked Jericho. You know, just there's just so many moments in wrestling where someone came back from injury and they attacked the person who, like, quote unquote took them out. Even though maybe if it was like, they claim an injury for one thing, but they're really leaving for something else. But in this day and age, is it really necessary to do that? I don't think so. I think fans are a little bit more, not that they don't care, but I just think that it doesn't. I think they're more understandable when they're more understanding when someone gets hurt. So they're not confused like, oh, why is this person gone? Because they used to keep it such a secret back then. They used to keep it part of the kayfabe. But now they don't. So fans don't expect some sort of story like, oh, why is this person gone? It's like, oh, because they got hurt. Like, oh, okay. Well, I hope they're doing okay. All right, I got my special because I had my comeback. It's kind of a hollow victory if I win. Onto the chair. Nope, didn't do it on the chair. I'm gonna do another one just to be safe because she'll probably kick out. She'll probably still kick out because she's Chyna. She's the 9th wonder of the world, ladies and gentlemen. Future Hall of Famer. But right now, Rikishi wins it. And, yep. Alright. I'll be right back. I'm just going to take a quick little break. Just a 2-minute break. Gotta go do something real quick. And, yeah. I'll be right back. And then we'll continue with... Who am I playing as? With Rikishi. Alrighty. So we won with Rikishi. Oh, they're gonna do their dance. We can skip it though. I've seen that dance before. Rikishi. Hardcore Championship. Alright. What do we have to do here? We have to say yes to the APA. That's it. We gotta say yes to the APA. Huh. I wonder, is the chat working? What's going on? Doo-doo. I don't know what's up with that. I wonder if... Try to put a message in chat, but it didn't come up. Huh. I wonder what's going on. I hope people haven't been trying to chat and I'm not seeing anything come up, because that'd be awful. There you go. Crash Holly. Battle of the Super Heavyweights. Always gotta say that when I face Crash Holly. The Battle of the Super Heavyweights. But... So yeah, I don't know. How did I get started on that anyway? Oh, because of the Rikishi thing. Yeah, that's why I was talking about the whole injury thing, the Rikishi thing. But like, even like, you know, Rey Mysterio was like, yeah, I'm not gonna be in Long Beach because I hurt my bicep, and everyone was like, oh, okay, cool. It's not like we gotta have Jushin Thunder Liger beat him up. So I guess, you know, every situation is different. Every situation, if you can plan it, if you can work it into an angle, I say go for it. Or if it's something that can be spun into an angle, I say go for it. You know. But if you can't, then yeah, you know, just let everyone know, like, yeah, so-and-so got hurt. They're out for competition. No big deal. No big whoop. Look at that. Look at Crash go. But yeah, I'm really excited about Strong Style Evolve. Really happy that Zack Sabre Jr. won. Really looking forward to WrestleMania. I think that's it. Oh, and then we're getting Cedric Alexander and Mustafa Ali, which was a given, which made you wonder why they had to have the whole tournament in the first place, if it was just going to be the two people that we thought it was going to be. But I guess, you know, I helped showcase them a little bit more with other people, especially with all the new people they've added to 205 Live. It was quite a few upsets in that tournament. I'm hoping they spin that into some really good angles and feuds, because that tournament was really good. I don't know if I enjoyed it as much as the Cruiserweight Classic, but I definitely enjoyed it a lot. And yeah, I'm excited to see where they go with 205 Live. Should be cool. Should be interesting. And what else? What else can they add? I think that's it, because we know what the Raw Tag Team Champions are doing. We know what the SmackDown Tag Team Champions do. I wonder if they're gonna announce Strowman's partner for WrestleMania before WrestleMania, or if they're gonna wait until WrestleMania. My money's on Elias. They're just probably gonna be like the odd couple kind of tag team, where Elias plays a musical instrument and then Strowman plays some ridiculous instrument next to him. Some oversized instrument. Let's see how long they keep that going. And then, the big Mark Henry slam. Let me see. We got the IC title covered. The US title covered. We have the Cruiserweight Championship. Both women's championships. Universal and WWE. Yeah, wow. That's everything. And then you got Cena, Undertaker. So I think, yeah, I don't think they can add anything else. And then you're going to have the Andre Battle Royal and then the Women's Battle Royal. But yeah, I don't think they can add anything else. I think that's it. I think that's WrestleMania. I think the WrestleMania card is looking pretty good. It's going to be here in what? Man, 3 weeks? 2 weeks? Ugh. Time flies. But this part, the season, I feel like moves so fast because of wrestling for me. Because like right after the Royal Rumble, it's just like everything. Not just with you know, WWE, but everything, Ring of Honor, PWG, is like just so much stuff that just moves. Just goes so fast, and then it kind of slows down. For me, it kind of slows down until we get to the G1, and then we get to the G1, and then we get to Bola. That's when it picks up again in the summertime, and then you get SummerSlam, but it kind of slows down after WrestleMania a little bit, which is good because I just feel like you just need a break after WrestleMania with everything that goes on. But it should be cool. I'm excited. Again, I don't know when, if ever, I'll get to go to a WrestleMania, but maybe one day. Maybe when I blow up, when I start making that YouTube money, which who knows? If I keep doing N64 wrestling games, I'm gonna have to like expand. I do want to start putting up new stuff on my channel. I've been working on some stuff in the background for some other wrestling games, some different kind of content. You know, I want to do the fantasy booking series that I've been talking about. I've been hinting at. I want to, you know, just do a lot of cool stuff. I want to increase the amount of calls I do, but calls take such a long time, man. Like they really do. And especially with me, like I kind of like obsess over like the little details that probably like no one notices. But I do have Okada done in Virtual Pro Wrestling 2, so I gotta put Okada up. I just gotta record audio for that. But Okada's done. I spent a few days working on Okada. His moveset wasn't as challenging as I thought it was gonna be. His costumes neither. His costumes and moveset weren't as tough as I thought it was gonna be. But you know, there's still a bunch of guys I gotta make. I feel like I have to make like all the very popular people. I kind of want to start making them around when I'm doing my World Championship Let's Play series. So I want to get through the Women's Championship and then start making some like, you know, marquee WWF No Mercy guys. You know, I gotta make Hogan, gotta make John Cena, gotta make Daniel Bryan. You know, gotta make CM Punk, gotta make all the marquee people, because those are people that I've never made, besides Hogan. You know, those are people I never really made in No Mercy. You know, originally when I started doing my No Mercy calls, I was just remaking a lot of people I made before. Like I recently did Bret Hart and Owen Hart, and I made those back in the day, you know? So I feel like I have to make people I've never made before. Like Nakamura. Nakamura was fun to make. AJ Styles was fun to make. You know, I never made them before in No Mercy. So I should make those. But, you know, the way I look at it is I kind of look at, especially now with so many people today doing things, you know, like I start from the finisher. If they have a finisher that I know I can recreate in No Mercy, you know, then that makes me happy, you know, because the appearance, you could always, doesn't have to be perfect. The appearance doesn't have to be perfect. You just have to kind of like get the idea of the wrestler when you see him, you know, or her, because in No Mercy I did make an Alundra Blaze that I haven't showed off yet, but I did make an Alundra Blaze for my women's championship run, and I would like to make some more female wrestlers, but like I feel like if like you squint and you can sort of see the wrestler, then you've made a good call. And obviously I don't do mods on my channel, so that's something I gotta really start doing too. I think that would help grow my channel, because I think the way I approach the Let's Plays and the way I approach the commentary would be really beneficial with the mods, where I can talk more about the modern wrestlers, using the mods and showcasing the mods. And there's a great mod community for No Mercy that even reached out to me a little bit wanting to do stuff, and I told them I just don't have the capability yet to do the mods, but eventually I will. Eventually I would like to. But I think there's still like some sort of, at least for me, I think there's like an appeal of still playing this game, you know, playing the vanilla version of No Mercy, whether it be on the original cartridge or whether it be on an emulator. you know, playing it like you would have played it back in the day. You know, I think there's still something to that. Something enjoyable to that. Something, you know, I think that's fun. But we'll see. I got a whole long list of wrestlers to make for my channel. It's just that, you know, on a wrestler that I've made before, I could knock out in a day, you know, if I just work on it throughout the day. But like to sit there and like put in the moves takes at least like an hour just to do the moves. And that's if you already know, if like you know what the wrestler does, sort of like in the back of your hand. Like Bret Hart. Like Bret Hart did not have to look up anything for Bret Hart, because I've seen so much Bret Hart. I know so much about Bret Hart. You know, Rob Van Dam, I didn't have to look up anything from Rob Van Dam. You know, I've seen so many Rob Van Dam matches. But you know, but like even with some, but then like it's like someone like AJ Styles and Nakamura, it's like, okay, I want to watch stuff because, you know, do they maybe do something they don't do anymore, or they haven't done in a long time that I've forgotten about, that I can throw in there, you know, because I feel like that's what a lot of wrestling games do. Even if you look at like the movesets in No Mercy or Revenge or, you know, Virtual Pro Wrestling 2, sometimes people have moves in there that you don't really see them do all the time, but they have done it before, or sort of similar to moves they've done. But that's why I have to get into Fire Pro, because Fire Pro, they, you know, Fire Pro, the creative wrestler system, especially today, is so much better now with the mod community, the community, not the mod community, but just the community in general. So much easier to share your creations and share all the CAWs. So I gotta get me a PS4, because that's coming out this summer. I should start a Patreon just to get a PS4 to play Fire Pro Wrestling. That'd be kind of neat. But I don't even know if I'm there yet. I'll just ask for $1. Just, hey, everyone, chip in $1. That's it. That's all I need. Just $1. And then I could probably get a PS4 and play some Fire Pro Wrestling World. This is like the third time I fought Crash, isn't it? I feel like I've been fighting Crash so many times in this championship path. We give him 2 Rikishi drivers to put him away for good. Put him away. I love the animation for the Rikishi. Oh my god, I busted him open. I love the animation for the Rikishi driver in this game. I didn't post an update. I should post an update. WrestleMania and yeah, because I don't. Yeah, WrestleMania and Strong Style Evolved hype. Because I don't think I'm going to be able to stream before Strong Style Evolved. I think I'll probably stream after Strong Style Evolved. And I got to make a list. I got to make a list also for streaming Virtual Pro Wrestling 2. What I want to do on stream. Just so I can keep track. Because there's so much unlockables there I got to do. Got to stream some WWE Revenge. I want to stream all the Aki games, and then I want to start streaming other wrestling games. But I got to stream Day of Reckoning. I'll probably stream Day of Reckoning next week. That'll be fun. I'll start that. Get that going. And, you know, I just figured I'd stream No Mercy just a little bit more, just to get back into the groove for streaming. Because I didn't want to stream a game I'd never played before when I hadn't streamed in a bit. So I'll probably stream Day of Reckoning next. And check that out. I'm excited to check that out. I'm excited to check out other wrestling games. You know, build my wrestling games collection. I want to... And I don't want to, like... I don't know. I feel like I don't want to be, like, playing wrestling games I know aren't great. Like, obviously, you know, like, you know, some of the 2K games aren't great. But, you know, I do think they still have a lot of bonuses for them. But, like, you know, there's just some games I probably won't spend too much time on. Like Legends of Wrestling. Because that's just... really tough to play, and really hard to play, because just the game engine in that game is just so bad. So I don't want to like focus too much on like the bad wrestling games. I want to focus on like The really good wrestling games. Oh, man. Perfect. Right through the middle of the table. Oh, man. Taka. I'm sorry, Taka. Oh, man. Rikishi is good in this game. The only downside is that he's a super heavyweight, so the computer can very easily get an advantage over you. But I'm saying yes to the APA, so the APA is going to help me out. Oh, here's Taz. Oh, Taz. A lot of people got upset when Rikishi got inducted to the Hall of Fame because he didn't thank Scotty 2 Hotty or Brian Christopher. He didn't thank the other members of Too Cool. And then I think it was Brian Christopher, or maybe it was Scott Taylor, who called him out on it on Twitter, and that started a whole beef. And it was weird because like just a few weeks or like a month or so prior to that, they were on the Raw Anniversary show, and that was the first time that Too Cool got reunited. But something must have happened. Something must have happened backstage because I mean, that had to be purposeful, right? You know, Rikishi had to purposely leave out their names. You know, I mean, they did the whole dance. He did the dance with his sons. So, who knows? Who knows why they did that? Why he did that? You know, something must have... You know, and that's the thing. You know, a lot of times, like, people always want to, like, hate, like, right away on a wrestler or someone because they think they know everything that's going on. It's like, you don't know what's going on. Like, you know, something could have went down and caused a rift, and they're mad at each other for a little bit. And, like, you know, let them be. They're adults. Let them hash it out. Like, you don't have to get involved, you know, like really, like as a fan, like what I really try to focus on, unless I hear that like someone did something horrible, you know what I mean? Like, and it can be confirmed that like someone did horrible. Like a lot of times I'll just be like, ignore a lot of like the rumors and speculation of like, oh, why this person's mad at that person's why. Like they're adults. They'll get over it, you know? So it's like something like that. It's like I didn't get mad at Rikishi. It's like, all right, whatever. He didn't thank Brian Christopher and Sky Tuhati. That's interesting. I wonder what's up. I wonder what happened there, you know? And if anything, I kind of feel bad that there is a problem there that would cause him to do that, you know, because obviously they had some sort of, you know, friendship maybe at one point, you know, beyond just their business relationship of being this tag team. But I wouldn't get mad at him just for doing that. You know what I mean? Like, If someone doesn't thank someone in their Hall of Fame speech, that's their choice. You know, that's what they decide to do. I really hope they put a limit on these Hall of Fame speeches, though, man. Because I try to watch the Hall of Fame, but some people just go on way too long. And I get it. It's a big moment for them. They're not gonna have a chance like that again. But like, you know, I feel like they gotta reel some people in, you know? It's like when like Mr. T did that one speech. Oh my goodness. Alright, I gotta say yes here. Say yes to the APA. And then I win the rest. They take my money. I love so the APA gimmick I thought was really funny. And I think my favorite thing about the APA gimmick was the door. Was the fact that they were backstage, and then you had this door that wasn't connected to anything, and you had to knock to get into the to go see them. And when people would just barge in and onto the table, they'd get mad and be like, "Hey, use the door," you know. And then it's like they would make people knock and they're like, "Come in," you know. That was my favorite. It's such like a simple joke, but it's so effective. I love that so much with the APA was the door. And just it's such a great, you know, and also like I feel like that's something else that's like sort of missing in today's WWE. You know, like Lucha, like I talk about Lucha Underground quite a bit because like Lucha Underground, they definitely have this world that they've built around their wrestlers, around the arena, and especially the world that exists with the wrestlers, you know, with the characters outside of the ring, right? And I feel like WWE used to have that. You know, they used to have this world that existed backstage, how the characters sort of interacted with each other. Even the vignettes of like the Undertaker just like being creepy backstage and having these like otherworldly things happening backstage around him, and just certain people's dressing rooms and what they look like and where they were, the APA I feel like really helped. Not only was it like interesting that they had this whole gimmick that like people would come and pay them for protection, but it really also helped establish a world, that the characters existed in backstage for this like wrestling show, where it's like if someone had a problem, that backstage there are these two characters that can help fix it. I was actually watching Glow, the original Glow, and I talked about this in my last Let's Play that I did for Ivory, where it was basically like a variety show. It was like basically a variety / wrestling show, and a lot of the skits that they did would basically be to set up the characters and the world they're in, and the relationships and the matches. But it also helped establish the world they lived in as the characters. And one of the funny bits was like the owner of the promotion, he was he operated out of a telephone booth on the middle of a street, like of a busy street over there in California or whatever. And I thought that was hilarious, because it's like he's trying to it established that this is a world where they're running this like upstart promotion, and the boss is sort of like this kind of like down on his luck kind of guy. I did the back special there. I didn't mean to do the back special there, but whatever, I'll take it. And I just thought they established the world, and like it got me thinking. I was like, WWE's never done that. Like, they used to when Vince McMahon was Mr. McMahon. You would see him backstage, and like every time you would see him, he would be flanked by like corporation. He'd be flanked by the corporation, and but we all knew Mr. McMahon. He was walking around. He was always calling the shots, doing stuff. But they never did this thing where they established this, like, oh, when people got to talk to Mr. McMahon, they go to his office. And, like, even though they traveled to all these different places, like, what if his office was, like, done the same way? Like, they kind of do that with NXT. NXT, like, when you go to see William Regal, you go to his office. So it's like they established this world where the characters, if they have an issue, they have a problem, William Regal's office is in the back, and they can go to and they can voice their problems. And I feel like that's very effective storytelling, because it helps establish a world or character. So, recently they did the whole bit with Roman Reigns, where Roman Reigns was like, calling out Brock Lesnar, and Brock Lesnar's not here, blah blah blah, whatever. I'm really kind of over the whole feud, but he went backstage to go talk to Vince McMahon. And Vince McMahon is in Gorilla calling the show. And he's like, I know you hear me. I know you're there. Blah, blah, blah. And it's like, I get what they were trying to do. They were trying to like, oh, look, he's like interrupting the show. And, you're not supposed to see Vince McMahon at Gorilla and stuff like that. But like, I think it would have been much more effective. Because again, we know that Vince McMahon has this Mr. McMahon character. Like, what if there was an established office that you can go to, and he busted down the door? And what if Vince McMahon wasn't watching the show? You know what I mean? Like, because that would make it so much more, I think, creatively interesting, because you're establishing that the boss hasn't been paying attention to you. He's been avoiding your calls. And then when you go and you cut to, he's over there in Gorilla, he's watching the whole thing, well, then that he's been scripted to say all this. So if anything, by showing the realism, by showing how the show actually operates, you're actually not allowing the viewer to suspend their disbelief. Does that make sense? You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of, you have like the opposite effect. You want someone to make it think it's real, so that Roman Reigns really has this beef with Vince McMahon because he's mad that Lesnar's a part-time or whatever. And, so he's going to demand action. And then you show a real context of him interrupting Vince McMahon, sitting there with Shane, who's supposed to be on SmackDown. You know what I mean? But it it doesn't create this fictional world. It shows you the real world, how it pulls back the curtain. And it pulls back the curtain in a way that's supposed to be fixed. So it doesn't have that same effect. Whereas if like he like, you know, if he goes to the office and you see the sign like Vince McMahon's office, and he's about to go in and someone's in there, is like, no, Vince is not ready for you. He's like, I don't care. Like I've been waiting all week to speak to him, and now I know he's in there. So he's like, oh no, but he's busy. He's on an important call, and then he busts in there, and Vince McMahon is like, you know, on his phone or something, and he's like, hold on, what's going, what are you doing here, you know? And then Roman Reigns is like, I want to talk to you. He's like, damn it, you can't just barge in here. And then like he picks McMahon up over the table, he starts shaking him. Like to me, that would have been a lot more engaging, because it would have helped create this fantastical world that the characters exist. And I always feel like that's a lot more engaging than when you try to break the fourth wall purposefully. You know what I mean? Not everything can be a CM Punk pipe bomb. Not everything can be, you know, the outsiders showing up on Nitro. You know, those moments are far and few between. So for me, it's much more entertaining if they do try to create this fantastical world behind the scenes, and make the behind the scenes its own world. That's something that I feel like the you know, the announcers are underutilized. Maybe I should do one of my CAWs. Maybe I should do one of my CAWs. And the AJ Styles, Dynamite Kid. Let's do AJ Styles. AJ Styles, hardcore champion. Shinsuke Nakamura, hardcore champion. Wait a minute. What CAWs do I have on? I'm going to do one of my CAWs. Let me see who I made that I can have hardcore champion data. And maybe I'll do a call that was already hardcore champion, because why not? Big Show, Ambrose. Ooh, Ambrose. Let's do Ambrose. He could be hardcore champion. And he's been gone for a while. He'll probably show up at WrestleMania. My prediction is that he's going to show up at WrestleMania. The Shield is going to get together and beat up Brock Lesnar. That's my prediction. But yeah, I wish they would play up more so this like fantastical world. Ooh, choices. So many choices with Ambrose and his attire. I was really happy with the way this Ambrose came out. Got a lot of positive feedback. I think it's one of my most watched CAWs. I think Rollins is #1. But Ambrose is up there. Choices. White shirt, black shirt. Let's do white shirt Ambrose. Oh wait, I gotta make him champion. Oh crap. Damn it. Exit. Don't save. Just exit. I hope I didn't start. Now I'm gonna have to like reset it. If that. Yeah, okay, sweet. It didn't save it. Alright. So I gotta make Ambrose. Let's do No Mercy. Hardcore. Ambrose versus Rikishi. Bam. It's pretty good, Dean Ambrose. He would have been a great hardcore champion. Is the chat working? I'm wondering if the chat's working. Hello, this is a test. This is a test. It's not. I don't see the chat. My stuff isn't going through. Why is that? What if I chat on the app? Do I have the app? If anyone's in chat, could you type something so I could just see if the chat's working? Because I feel like when I type something, it doesn't go through. But let me look at my channel real quick, because I want to say that Ambrose is my most popular CAW, which I didn't expect. It's either Ambrose or Rollins is my most popular CAW. Big Show too. Big Show is pretty popular. Go to my channel. Videos. And then sort by most popular. Let's see, for Rollins. Rollins is my most popular CAW. Rollins, Big Show, and then Dean Ambrose. Sweet. I'm happy with that. I'm happy with that. Live. How do I watch it? I'm just looking up something real quick on the app. I've never really checked out. Chat works. Oh. Have you been chatting the whole time? Because I am seeing the chat on... Chat works. I don't see the chat on screen. Huh. That's weird. I haven't been seeing the chat on the screen. Let me quit my browser. Oh my god, have people been chatting this whole time and I haven't been seeing it? Because I feel really bad if that's been the case. Let me pull it back up. There's always something. There's always something. I hope people haven't been chatting and I don't think I've been ignoring you on the stream. Yesterday I was seeing the chat perfectly fine. But today, for some reason, the joys of streaming, ladies and gentlemen. Working technical difficulties live. Alright, let me go to my dashboard. There's always something. There's always something. I hope people haven't been chatting and I don't think I've been ignoring you on the stream. Alright, let's try this again. Testing chat. Put it through. Didn't see it come up. Uh-oh. This is not good. Testing. It has just been me here. Well, I didn't... Have you been posting stuff, Michael? Because I haven't seen anything come through. I don't know why it's not coming up. I'm going to have to switch. Let me switch browsers. Oh, brother. There's always something. Let me see. Let me switch over to another browser. This is disappointing. Whoa. Bam. Caught Rikishi off guard because I was too busy fixing stuff on Twitch. I'm going to switch browsers to see if that does anything. I don't know if it's like my Chrome browser. It's just not pulling it up. Bam. Look at that clothesline. I forgot how much I like this Ambrose call, actually. Boom. Oh, slap. Alright, let me see. Alright, I loaded this up. Oh, brother. I wonder if I'm going to have to log in. Let me just go to my channel. Oh, look, someone's streaming No Mercy. Who could it be? Oh, it's me. It's me streaming No Mercy. Hi, chat. Click planetary. Oh, I gotta log in. Oh, it wants you to log in. Okay. I guess. Give me one moment. I'm just fixing some stuff. I gotta log in now on this other browser. The joys of streaming. Well, you know, it's a good thing I'm working out all these kinks now. It's not like I have, like... You know, I apologize, Michael, if you've been watching and you've been posting stuff and I haven't been responding to it. But I've just now realized that the post appears. Okay, see, like now I'm logged in on Safari. I was on Firefox. Not Firefox. I was on Chrome. And I wasn't seeing any chat appear. So if you were posting stuff, I wasn't seeing it come through on my dashboard. And I noticed this when I left that one time and I put it to say that, oh, I'm leaving, and it didn't go through. And I was like, huh. So I kept trying it out as I was playing. And then that's why I was like, wait a minute, something's wrong here. Something is wrong because it is not going through. So have you been posting stuff this whole time? Because I don't want to make it seem like I've been ignoring you. I definitely haven't. It's just I've been meaning to switch from Chrome anyway. Like, you know, I heard Firefox is good again, but just been meaning to switch from Chrome. Now I'm gonna have to do my come on password. What am I doing wrong? Just give me one moment. I have a very complex password that I entered wrong, apparently. Okay, alright. Alright, this is frustrating now. What have you been posting? What have I skipped out on that we could talk about? If you asked any questions or anything like that. Because when I stream, I just like kind of like to ramble and talk until people ask questions. Because I never want to make it seem like my stream is quiet. You know, like I don't have anything to say. Because, oh my God, I can talk for hours uninterrupted. But I appreciate it when people, you know, ask me stuff. Because then I don't feel like a crazy person and I'm just talking to myself the whole time. Because I think it's kind of scary that I can talk to myself the whole time. That I don't need assistance in that. Which is why I like doing the Let's Plays. Only things was you mentioned WrestleMania returning to Canada, and I posted WWE has not had a WrestleMania in Montreal. Is that the big city that they haven't had it in? Because they were in Toronto, right? If I remember, that's where Edge fought Taker. And then when... Yeah, they haven't had it in Montreal. They've had events in Montreal. But they haven't had it in Montreal. That would actually be... Ooh, that'd be interesting to go back to Montreal after all these years. Because when was the last time they were in Montreal? Period. I know they went that one time where Shawn Michaels was bashing the crowd. You know, this was like years after the screw job. This was years after the screw job. I remember he went and was talking about, you know, like, oh, you know, he was just talking about his upcoming match with Hogan. And then all of a sudden he started talking about Bret Hart, you know, because he's in Montreal and the fans are just booing him. And then Bret Hart's music hits and the fans go crazy. And they're like, but it was all a joke by Shawn Michaels. It was horrible. It was so bad. Like, bad in a good way. Like, he did that. Like, because it was just like, it made you just hate him so much more. Okay. Retrying in new browser. I'm just going to put new browser. Okay, now I can see it coming up. Now I can see it coming up. All right. I think the problem was Chrome for whatever reason, which is weird. But I was using Chrome. No, I wasn't using Chrome yesterday. I was on my laptop. I was using Edge. So maybe it's the problem with Chrome. I gotta switch over anyway. I gotta switch over my browser. Chrome is getting on my nerves. I just feel like it's just been not running effectively. But Montreal, yeah, I mean, I know there's been a lot of like talks and rumors about WrestleMania going to other countries again because they haven't done it in such a long time. Canada obviously would be like the gimme, especially with all the big Canadian stars they have now. But they also have a lot of international stars now. I understand them not wanting to do like one in the UK because of the time difference, but I would like them to do like a big pay-per-view in the UK. Like I would like them to do like a SummerSlam. Montreal Screwjob 1997, and I think the 205 Raw. Yeah, that was the Raw I was talking about. That was the last time they went to Montreal. Damn. 205 or 2005. That's crazy. That's so long ago. That's 13 years ago. They gotta go. Like, does Montreal have any stadiums? Because they only do stadiums now. That's why I'm thinking, they would go to Toronto. But if Montreal has stadiums, they could definitely go back. If WWE went back, they would be very well received. They would make so much money. Every time they go international, they do pretty well for themselves. So for them to do an international event, I mean, obviously WrestleMania is such a big deal. And the thing about WrestleMania, something I mentioned earlier was that, it's become a mecca, for the weekend for all these different promotions. So maybe they want to just keep it localized because they know that. And maybe it's just easier for them too, to keep it local. But it would be cool to see a WrestleMania one day outside of the US again. Especially with Canada being probably the closest option. And I could see them doing Toronto. I mean, that would probably make it very tedious to have everyone, work in Toronto that weekend. But I'm only thinking also like someplace like Toronto because they have the big like Toronto International Airport, I believe. So it's like that's like a huge flying hub. So if you're trying to get people to go all over the world, that's another reason too. WWE has been choosing a lot of the locations they've been choosing lately is because of all the the major airports that they're near, which makes it easier for the fans coming around the world to visit because they can just go straight to the big international airport usually, depending on where they're coming from. I mean, I know a lot of people here in Buffalo that if they want to fly outside of the country, they go up to Toronto. They fly into Toronto first, and then they fly out of Toronto, or they'll fly into New York and then out of New York City. Those are the two ways I know they do it. So that's the only reason why I was thinking Toronto, but Montreal I think would be a good choice, and then you could do a Bret Hart memorial thing. Your grandfather's parents came from Montreal. Oh, okay. Okay, yeah. Oh, you're in Florida. Oh, you got good weather down there. Whereabouts in Florida? Are you near Orlando? Did you ever get to go to the any of the events down in Florida? Because they run Florida all the time. Isn't that where last year's WrestleMania was in Orlando, or was it the year before? I always get them mixed up. Alright, for this path, I have to win, say no to APA, and then lose the match. Okay, I can do that. And then who did I just play as? I played as Rikishi. Alright, so I have to say no, and then lose the match. That's easy enough. But where was last WrestleMania? Let's look it up. Let's look it up. File. WrestleMania. Wikipedia. Dates and venues. Here we go. So they were Toronto, Canada was WrestleMania 6. WrestleMania 6, they were in Canada. Then WrestleMania 18, they went to Toronto again, Sky Dome. And last year was in Orlando. You didn't get to check them out last year, WrestleMania, did you? Because that's always been my bucket list, is to go to WrestleMania. But I think because of my location, it's going to be kind of hard. You know, when I mean hard, I just mean like, you know, it's much more expensive when you have to like fly out or travel. I live about 2 hours away from Orlando. Oh, okay. So the journey for you would be a lot easier if you ever did decide to go to a big event there, or ever did have the means. Like that's what I consider pretty reasonable. If it's like 2 to 3 hours away, then, you know, at least like if you can't afford to go, like if all you can afford is the event and the drive and not the hotel, you know, then at least the drive is manageable. But once it's like, you know, a 6-hour drive, 9-hour drive, or if you have to fly, you know, then a hotel is a given, then that ups the cost of the trip. Then it becomes like a vacation, you know. So, and especially with a show like that, when the tickets are already expensive. Camping World Stadium, Orlando. Yeah, I like what they did in Orlando. The set, I like the way it looked. It was really nice. It's probably just great to just wrestle. I remember when they first announced MetLife Stadium the last time they went. You know, I was like, oh, they're gonna be in MetLife Stadium. It's gonna be cold because the way we've been having like these sort of like winters stretched out. Like even right now, like if they were thinking of doing, like if WrestleMania was this year in MetLife Stadium over in Jersey, you know, I'd be like, oh, it's going to be kind of cold then. Everyone's going to be going in their jackets, you know, and coats, because even right now, you know, in the Northeast, it's pretty cold, and then we're probably going to get like another snowstorm, and it's like, it's supposed to be spring, man. So I think that's why they've been gravitating, but it makes sense that they would do MetLife again. And I heard, and this is something we talked about yesterday. Actually, I read, after I finished streaming, I read a report that the reason why Bam Bam Bigelow didn't get into this year's Hall of Fame was because they wanted to save it for next year, because they're going to be in Jersey. So they thought it would make more sense to induct him next year. And I thought, like, oh yeah, that makes a whole lot of sense to induct him next year, because you're going to be in Jersey. So maybe Bam Bam will be in next year's induction, which would be really cool. You know, being in Jersey, I think that'd get a big reaction. DDP already went in. Who else? Who else can you do from like New York? You know, I'm wondering, like, what other like big name New York wrestlers? I could put Brooklyn Brawler in. They could put the Brooklyn Brawler in New York. You know, they put in oh man, who else could they put in from the New York area? Now I'm like flanking. They could put in Taz. They could put in Paul Heyman. Even though he's not really a New York guy, but like, you know, the whole East Coast. Oh, I mean, he is a New York guy, but like the whole East Coast thing with ECW, like they could just put a lot of East Coast people. There's a cold front in Florida at the moment, but it's refreshing. Yeah, I bet it's refreshing, you know, especially with Florida, because it's more hot there than it is cold. I think it's just been such a long winter up here that everyone's just kind of tired of it. I know I'm kind of tired of it. I wish I could keep my door open, my back door open, and have the nice fresh warm air come in like I did last summer. But that's what I always think about too when they do these events, like, you know, where they're going, like if it's going to be a warm location or if it's going to be a cool location, because it's the same thing. I guess, you know, you see it all the time with football, but I would much rather want to go to an outside event when it's nice and warm than when it's cold. And I'm pretty sure if you're wrestling, you would probably want it to be a little bit warmer. Although I don't know, with all those lights and all that, you know, energy you're expelling when you're wrestling, it probably is all the same to you. You know, when you're wrestling, you're probably warm anyway because of all of that. So bam. What did I give him again? I think I gave him the double arm DDT to sort of make up for his move. See, this is what I'm talking about with like wrestler finishers. It's like, you know, like if you can do something that's sort of reminiscent of what they do, then, you know, I see that as like a good start to start making them, especially with newer wrestlers. The Rollins call was fun to do because I made him right around when he started doing the pedigree. So I gave Rollins the pedigree, but now he's back to doing the curb stomp. They're calling it something else though. Now he's back to doing the curb stomp, and it's like, well, that kind of like negates my no mercy call now. And I put lunatic fringe. I forgot all about this. Call. I made Ambrose. I played with him like a couple of times, and then I never played with him again. I gotta play with my calls more. Maybe the streams is the best time to do that. To play with the cause. So I just have to remind myself, say no to APA and then lose the match. But I really liked the takeover in the UK. I thought that was pretty cool. You know, I'm like watching takeover live, like at 3 o'clock in the afternoon where I am. Like I thought that was pretty neat. They did that recently. You know, they go to the UK every year and they do a Raw and SmackDown in the UK. But it's taped, so because they still have to broadcast it at the same time. But you know, with the network, you know, with the live events, you know, like there's this, you know, they did the live event in Japan. That was fun. You know, I hope they broadcast the next live event in Japan too. And then they got the I think they're going to Saudi Arabia, and they're doing like the world's greatest Royal Rumble, and they're doing and then they do they're doing like all these championships. They're making like a huge thing, I guess, because they really want to open up that market, and they probably don't know when they're gonna go back there again. So they want to like probably get as much, you know, revenue as they can. But I like seeing audiences from different countries watch WWE. It's always a different vibe. And I guess I just still always have that memory of SummerSlam, you know, in the UK, you know, and especially WrestleMania 18, with the way they responded to Hogan Rock. No $1,000 for you, APA. Yeah, stop taking my money. I need to buy all the costumes and the weapons and the, you know, I gotta save up to unlock all the moves. I think it's funny though that it actually does take money that you've earned in the game. Like it's not just storyline. Like it legit takes money that you've earned. And I wonder, because I don't know. I don't think there's a, like you always get money if you win, but there's some instances where you don't get money because like you skip stuff or you weren't really part of stuff. So I wonder if there's instances. I don't believe there is. But I wonder if there's a path that you can take where you reach the APA and you don't have enough money to say yes. Actually, I do think there is a path. I do think there is a path that you can take where you can reach the APA and actually want to say yes, but you don't have enough money. I think I remember there being a path you can do that, which is kind of funny. Oh, the big knockout. The big knockout. Wow, big clothesline, big Ambrose clothesline. That's supposed to be his like his wild man clothesline that he does. Oh, nice counter angle. Yeah, I'm gonna counter your counter, and then I'm gonna whip you into the ropes, and then I'm gonna hit my special. Love that combination. Little pro tip right there. Love that they added the whip around grapple from the back in No Mercy, because it allows you in situations like that, if you get countered grappled while you have your special. And then you could counter back. You can counter it, because you usually will, 9 times out of 10. Then you could just whip them to the ropes and still do your special, and then you don't lose the special. But I like how, it uses your actual money. I feel so much better now that chat's working. I can't believe chat wasn't working before. I hope people weren't coming on and like saying stuff. But you said it was just you, right? So it's alright. It's fine. It's cool. I'm glad you're here though. I'm glad you came back. I'm gonna try to stream a lot more. This month I wanted to really, attack my streaming, but of course something always comes up. And originally I was gonna try to stream at night, but I just think nighttime for me just doesn't work. And I remember I made an update where I said I was gonna stream at night, but I'm too tired at night. Honestly, I have so much stuff going on during the day, and it's easier because it's just me by myself during the day. I don't have I don't usually have my wife or my kids around during the day. Obviously, all that's gonna change in the summer when school's out, but we'll see. We'll adjust when I get to that point. But I think I should build up my streaming during the day so that when I do my nighttime streams, it'll be like every once in a while, But I think daytime would be best for me from my schedule. And I'll just archive my stuff so people can watch my streams if they missed it, That seems to be the general norm of what people do anyway. The beauty of on demand. Boom. Yeah, I really like this Ambrose call. It came out pretty well. I like playing with him. Maybe I'll do Rollins next. Do a whole Shield. I think I could squeeze in one more. What time is it? It's 1:38. I could probably squeeze in one more Hardcore Championship path. So maybe I'll play with Rollins. My Rollins call next. Show that off. If they had the Hardcore Championship nowadays, Ambrose would definitely be the Hardcore Champion. He would definitely be in that picture. But WWE is not going to do Hardcore Championship anytime soon. I always say, like with the network, they have so much stuff going on. It's already like a little bit overload. I've talked about that earlier. It's just so much content. But I thought that since they have the network, and this is something they'll never do, but I think they should do like a more mature wrestling product that's only on the network, so they don't have to worry about the sponsors and stuff. I mean, they probably still would have to worry about the sponsors because it's on the network, but you don't have to worry about people watching it on prime time and complaining about it, like if it's too violent or bloody. And not even like you don't have to make it like Attitude Era, but like maybe do show a little bit of hardcore matches, maybe do show a little bit of blood. Maybe have people curse a little bit. Make it a little bit more intense, a little more mature. Nothing too crazy, nothing too over the top. But I think that'd be like a really cool outlet for, all the people who are like, always complaining that WWE, they're not as hardcore as they used to be. They're not as mature as they used to be. And it's like, yeah, the times have changed. They're not. If you want to see that stuff, there's definitely other promotions you can see that stuff that does a little bit of everything. Like, again, even Impact Wrestling does a little bit of everything. They try to be a little bit edgy sometimes and do some things, and it's not always. But why not do that on the network? Why not do an hour show where you can have, like, a hardcore champion only on that show? You can have a little bit more intense characters and matches on that show. I think that would be kind of neat. Put it in a small arena, give it like an ECW vibe. Put it in like a small arena and just make it like this kind of throwback hardcore show. I think that'd be kind of cool because even if you watch the old ECW stuff, it wasn't like it was always constantly violence. I think that's like a thing a lot of people forget is that, I remember I used to watch ECW primarily because there was a lot of good wrestling on ECW. And I kind of missed that. Intense wrestling that, you don't see anymore in WWE. But like, they just had the freedom to just like, not have to worry constantly about the rules. And, Rob Van Dam, like, he didn't need to use a chair, but when he did, it was fun. Like he did some cool stuff. I would love to see, why not put that on the network? I think that would be really cool for them to do that. To have this sort of like gritty show, and then you could reintroduce a hardcore championship. You could even make that like the focal point of the show. Make it actually matter and not make it a joke championship like they did when they made it, 24/7. Because I think that kind of, I talked about that a lot in my Hardcore Championship Let's Play. I think that kind of killed the title, was when they made it this sort of like very gimmicky, cartoony title. Well, that's a funny taunt. Why did I give him that taunt? It's pretty funny. Oh, bam! I love it when they run right at me and I didn't expect to grab them. But yeah, and then you can have like more intense, matches, more intense characters. Maybe show a little bit of blood. I kind of missed. I'm not gonna lie. I kind of missed the blood, because I'm not a person that like, oh, you need blood every match. But I do think there's certain times where it makes sense to have blood, and it heightens the intensity of a match sometimes. When done right, when done well. I'm not a big fan of like, two guys just gushing all over the place just to have them gushing all over the place, but I do see the creative reasoning to have color in a match sometimes. Even with the recent Kenny Omega and Jericho feud, there was blood in it. And it didn't overtake the match by any way, but it did add to it. It did add to the intensity of it, the violence that Jericho was was doing to Omega, and I think it helped. It puts things in a different context when a wrestler starts to bleed. And again, I'm not a big fan of like, oh, every match has to have blood. But when done right, when done every now and then, when done well, it could make sense. And it's almost like been like there's only bleeding in like Brock Lesnar matches because he's MMA and stuff like that. But I feel like anytime you have like ladders or chairs or a steel cage involved or Hell in a Cell and no one bleeds, it's just like, all right, come on, like they're surrounded by metal all the time, like. When you're slamming a guy's head into the metal cage and like nothing, no scrapes, no nothing, it's just like, come on. And you used to see that in a lot of the older matches. Like you just knew you were gonna get color, and that becomes a little bit part of the match. And then like when you don't get color in the match like that, it just makes it even more sort of like compelling too, because then you're doing something different. I don't know. I think there's the right way and the wrong way to do it. And it's like I don't like bash WWE for changing and not doing that. I just wonder like if they've just like chose not to do it because it's just easier just to say we're not doing it, or because I think it is a lot harder to do it with a good reason. I think you challenge yourself more if you can come up with a good reason to work it out into the match realistically, than to say the easy way out is just to be like, oh, we're not doing it anymore. And I feel like that limits you creatively with the stories you can tell. And then if it like happens unexpected, like I get, that the ref wants to check on them and the ref wants to kind of maybe stop the bleeding and look out the wrestler's safety. But if the wrestler is okay, like, like let him bleed a little bit. Because like if it's something that he's just going to bleed for a little bit, and it's not really going to affect the match, let it happen. Like I think back of when like Finn Balor and Samoa Joe fought at NXT, and then like right in the beginning, like Joe got busted open, so he kept tossing Balor out just to make sure he was okay. He was like, yeah, I'm okay, I'm fine. And just like the crowd just came alive because it was an accident, but it just also like added to like Samoa Joe's intensity. Just to see him throwing around Finn Balor, he's bloodied, and he's like, oh, you're not going to stop me. I'm Samoa Joe. But then the ref kept stopping them to check on Joe, to wipe the blood away when it was getting too much. And I'm guessing, that was orders, from the back. Like, hey, he's bleeding too much. Wipe him, clean him up. So, and it's like, I wonder what that match would have looked like. Oh, I know what that match would have looked like. It would have been so much better if they didn't kept stopping and start it the whole time. And they do that a lot now. And you know, wrestlers are tough, man. If they know they got to get out of there, they'll say, "Oh yeah, we'll go home." But look at Finn Balor. Finn Balor, another example. You know, with the whole Universal Championship, he tore his shoulder right in the beginning, and he was like, "Nah, I'm gonna work through it. I'm good." Like, but like, there's been other wrestlers where, like, you know, when Neville broke his leg, or his ankle, and you know, him and Jericho knew, like, yeah, we can't continue, and they try to go home right away. They try to end it right away. So they know they can listen to their body, and I think you have to trust them. You know, yeah, there is a time and place where you step in, but you know, a lot of times with the little things, I think that just you got to feel it in the moment, you know, and I think it'll help create a moment for everyone involved. And again, it's something you can, going back to like the whole Eddie Edwards, Sami Callihan thing, it's something you can keep talking about. First Blood could return more. Yeah, like I think it, like, you know, like they do TLC. I mean, TLC is a pay-per-view. You know what I mean? TLC is a pay-per-view. Elimination Chamber is a pay-per-view. Hell in a Cell. You know, so they have all these gimmick matches. And I feel like when you do them all the time, they become stale. You know? Where it's like, it's expected to have this. Oh, we're expected to have this match or that match. Whereas, if it is the button to a feud, it's like, all right, well, this is how we're going to end it. First Blood. I don't want to pin you. I want to beat you. You know, there's a difference there. There's a difference there when you have, just think of like, you know, Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar. Like, if, you know, if they wanted to get so intense with it, they could make it a First Blood match. And then I would probably actually be interested now. I'd be like, whoa, hey, wait a minute. Now it's personal. Because now it's not about winning, like, oh, who's the best wrestler. You know, now it's like, okay, he wants to beat Brock. He wants to challenge Brock Lesnar, the man who busted up Randy Orton with his elbow. And he's like, let's do a First Blood match, punk. Like, they're like, I would be like, okay, now we're talking. Now, and then, like, you don't have to worry about it, you know, critiquing them, like, on a wrestling match. It's like, oh, Lesnar's just doing the same moves. Oh, Roman Reigns, he's just doing the same moves. Because they could just fight, you know, and they can do the same moves and get away with it because it's a fight. It's not a wrestling match. And it's a First Blood match. You don't have to pin or make the guy submit. We're not waiting for the Kimura. We're not waiting for the Superman. You know, maybe the Superman punch is going to bust him open. You know, if he's got, like, if he wraps his, imagine if, like, he brought in, like, you know, brass knuckles or something, and he did a Superman punch with the brass knuckles, and that busted Brock Lesnar open, like, you know, or the Shield came in and they beat up Brock Lesnar and they left him a bloody mess. You know, you could do so much stuff, and then you could do stuff too, like how they used to do with First Blood matches that I always actually used to like, where people would bleed accidentally. You know, where, you know, Stone Cold got hit with a chair, but, you know, he recovered fairly quickly and started beating everyone up with the chair, but then the ref notices he's bleeding and he would lose the match. So it would still make Stone Cold look strong because he's the one standing, but he bled, so he lost the match, you know, and it's like stuff like that. You could do stuff like that. All right, so we got to say no to the APA because Ambrose would totally say no, but then I got to lose to them, which should be fine, which should be easy. That should happen fairly quickly because I'm just going to stand there and let them beat me up. And they're just going to do all these double team moves and say no. I'm going to keep my money. But it's funny because if I say no to them, I say no to them and then I lose the match and then I don't get any money. So I break even here. So I keep the 1,000 because I'm going to lose. Yeah, First Blood, Lesnar Reigns, that would make me interested. That would make me interested. That's the only thing that would make me interested. in this Lesnar Reigns, and I'm only not interested because it's just been so predictable to get to this point, and they haven't done anything to make me look at the feud a different way. You know, and actually the Lesnar Reigns match, what was it, 2 WrestleManias ago now? 3 WrestleManias ago? 3 WrestleManias ago, because then he fought Triple H and then he fought Undertaker. The match started getting exciting because Lesnar's throwing him around the whole time, and then the match got exciting when Lesnar was thrown into the corner post and started bleeding. That's when the match started picking up, and it was like, oh, we got something here. And it was a hard way. He bled hard way. He ran right into that post, and obviously it was planned, but by doing it hard way, it helped make it seem like it wasn't. And again, it's effective storytelling. When you do it like that, when you do it in such a way where it becomes kind of unexpected, it makes you in the moment question like, oh, was that supposed to happen? You know? And so it added to the storytelling. It helped fuel Reigns' comeback, but it also helped weaken Lesnar in the match enough so that even more so when Rollins' music hit and he came running down to cash in, you knew Lesnar was weak, you know, because you could visually see a weak Lesnar in the ring. And now you had both Rollins or Reigns, you know, gonna capitalize on it. So, but I think if they add a stipulation, that's the only thing I could see. Like even, like even the Stone Cold podcast, when Stone Cold and when he had Paul Heyman, you know, the podcast on the network, and I never forget, he kind of got into character at the end. And he was like asking him, you know, if you would you fight again? Would you fight Reigns, like, you know, Lesnar? What about Stone Cold and Lesnar? He said the only way I would make it a match would be if it was a Texas death match. And, you know, like that basically like a last man standing match, Texas death match, but like you would gotta believe there'd be color in it, you know, and you know, one or both of them would be bleeding, like, and again, you wouldn't be focused on the wrestling match. And the best way to see if a wrestler is really weak is, you know, if they're bleeding, you know, like that's how that you can see. And then I think I gotta win the rest of these matches. Yeah, I gotta win the rest of these matches. So I don't know. I think there's an effective way to do blood. You know, I think WWE sometimes, I feel like they do things and it kind of limits them creatively when they don't do it anymore, you know, when they make decisions like that. You know, I remember on one of the podcasts when they were right when WWE was like ending their blood stuff, and like Jericho and Batista had the match, and where they did color and they didn't tell anyone. It was like just gonna be them, and then they got fined for doing it, and Vince McMahon got really upset that they did it. But that match was amazing. That match was so good, and you know, Batista said he was really upset that Vince did that, you know, and like Dean Malenko got fined too, because Dean Malenko was like the agent for the match or the producer for the match, and they thought they were just doing something to help tell a great story. And you know, because of like all the different rules that they had at that time, like it just soured that moment that they had. And you know, but even Jericho, look at Jericho and Ambrose, man. Jericho and Ambrose, when they had their feud going and they had their cage match with all the weapons around the cage, I forgot what they called it. What was the name of that match? But, you know, here's Jericho doing his best Atsushi Onita cosplay, you know, and, you know, they pull out the thumbtacks. And the whole time you're like, oh, Ambrose is going to get the thumbtack. Ambrose is going to get the thumbtacks. There's no way Jericho is going to take the thumb. And then Jericho takes the thumbtacks bump. And it's like, it's not completely bloody, you know, it's like, it's a horrific thing to see. It's like, oh my God, like, that's so painful to see. You know, but it still tells a visual story that heightens the match. And that match wouldn't have been memorable if it wasn't for that thumbtacks bump. And again, it wasn't like the most gory thing. It wasn't the most horrific thing. But it helped tell a different layer. It helped tell a different layer of the story, you know? So yeah, I mean, I would totally all in. And then like, you can make certain guys, you know, like an Ambrose, you can make him be a flagship for a show like that, where there's more violence, there's a little bit more blood and hardcore action going on. Because, you know, someone like Ambrose, who is supposed to be this wild man, he's kind of handicapped in this very PG, you know, wrestling setting, where he can't have these like hardcore matches that would totally make sense for his character to have. And then he could be the headliner for that sort of, you know, show. You know, but I don't know. They'll never do it. They'll never do it. But I think that would be a good show. They should do that. They should do an all-women's wrestling show for an hour. They should put 205 Live back in a small arena. They should put it back in Full Sail. Especially now that the wrestling's really good. Again, and, you know, they're trying to get back to the competitiveness of it that was very much lost after the Cruiserweight Classic. So yeah, there's a lot there that they could do. Here's they won the Hardcore Championship. Oh man, that makes sense. So I gotta fight them anyway. I thought I was getting out of this might be challenging actually, because it's the last match. So that means it's going to be on expert difficulty. And handicap matches are already tough. But on expert difficulty, they're always very challenging. What time is it? It's 1:59. Yeah, I could probably do one more. I think I'm going to do one more. I think I'm going to do Rollins next. And then I think I'm going to call it a stream. So that's probably like another 45 minutes of streaming. Bam. Up. Whoa, bam. Alright. You know, I think I'm gonna have to like just go crazy with Ambrose and like just start running around with a chair. Just really tap into the lunatic fringe side. Luckily the computer isn't as... Ooh, what's that? Is that a barbed wire bat? No, it's a regular bat. See if we get something good. It's a microphone. I hate that they have these stupid... Oh, there we go. A chair. Come on, Farouk. I'm the lunatic. He's gonna grab it. I knew he was gonna grab it. Oh. Boom, double drop kick. Go ahead, taunt, Bradshaw. Taunt all you want. Oh no, don't taunt. It lowers my meter. I gotta tap into the Wild Man for this match. Speaking of Wild Man, I gotta read the new Pillman book that came out recently. I heard it's really good. And I gotta make Bryan Pillman in WrestleMania 2000. I think that'd be a fun call to make. You know, a lot of comparisons between Pillman and Dean Ambrose, sort of his character. But let's be real. I think Pillman was more of a wild man than Ambrose. Even though Ambrose seems pretty off. Seems like a pretty funny guy, actually. I listened to some of his stuff on podcasts. Like, I think he was on Jericho's podcast, and he was a pretty funny guy. He seems a little out there. Very down to earth. You know, his match with Brock Lesnar was kind of a letdown, but he explained it, you know, how, like, you know, he basically had sort of his hands tied. There wasn't much he could do in that match. You know, I remember he got a little bad rap for his appearance on the Stone Cold podcast too, because he was like very laid back and mellow, but I think that's just who he is. That's just the kind of guy he is, you know. And it's a shame that, you know, it's funny, like, he got hurt right when, like, all the news was coming out of him being, like, the WWE's Iron Man, and then he gets hurt. Like, they kind of jinxed it for him, you know. But I think they're saving him. I think, ooh, what a clothesline. I think they're saving him. I think he's going to show up at WrestleMania and help Reigns. Or maybe he'll help Reigns lose, and that'll be a twist. And then Lesnar will still win. They could do that if they really want to shock people. But why would they break up the Shield when they just reunited them? So maybe they wouldn't do that. Come on. What a counter. But yeah, I'm all about... I think honestly, I think that was like sort of in the plans many moons ago. Was a Shield Lesnar thing. Keep going for that move, and he keeps countering it. Gotta stop going for it. But I think, again, all in the timing, man. Because right when the Shield gets back together, you knew they were getting them back together to set up the Reigns Lesnar rematch, and then boom, Ambrose gets injured, and then they kind of like split them up. They have Rollins doing his own thing. You know, Ambrose is out, and then they went back to the Reigns. So the whole Shield reunion was kind of like, again, timing is everything, man, with injuries. And then like Reigns got injured, not injured, but he got sick, and Angle had to replace him, and he cosplayed as a Shield member. See what happens when they wait too long? WWE has a really bad habit of doing that, man. They wait too long, and then when they finally get around to doing something, everything goes wrong. You know, that's what happened with Sting. They waited too long. They waited too long with Sting, and then look what happened. You know, they waited too long with Mark Henry, and look what happened. He got hurt. He started getting hurt right when they gave him World Championship, and he started becoming a main event player. Gets hurt. You know, Daniel Bryan, CM Punk, all these people, they wait too long, I think, and then when they finally decide to do it, something goes wrong. And then they probably in their eyes are like, well, see, this is probably why we shouldn't have done this in the first place. Where, you know, it's like the opposite. It's like, no, you shouldn't have waited so long. But hopefully all goes well with this WrestleMania. I'm hoping this WrestleMania is really good. You know, it gets kind of depressing because WrestleMania 30 was probably the last WrestleMania I really enjoyed a lot. And then the other WrestleManias, you know, had a few good matches here and there. So now we're what? This is WrestleMania 34, right? So that's 4. So if we get another WrestleMania that's meh, you know, it's gonna be kind of tiring waiting for next year's WrestleMania. So I'm really rooting for this year's WrestleMania to be very entertaining, and to have a lot of You don't need a lot of surprises, because I think the card speaks for itself. I think this is like the one WrestleMania where you don't really need a lot of surprises. To me, a surprise would be like if they did another, you know, Matt Hardy skit. You know, that would be something I wouldn't be expecting. It's like, oh, they're doing another one. Okay, cool. You know, but I mean, in terms of as far as returns go, like, you know, it'd be cool to see Samoa Joe show up, because Samoa Joe really hasn't had, you know, he showed up after last year's WrestleMania, and then for him to get injured before this year's WrestleMania is kind of lame. So it'd be kind of neat to see him make a comeback. I would like to see Samoa Joe. I think I said this before. I would like to see Samoa Joe return in the Andre Battle Royal and then win it. You know, actually give the Andre Battle Royal back to someone. Because Cesaro winning it was cool. Big Show winning it made sense. Mojo Rawley winning it was so lame. So I kind of want them. I kind of look forward to the Andre Battle Royal. I think it's a good showcase. It's a good Battle Royal to kind of have fun and give it to some. Baron Corbin winning it was like, okay, whatever. You know, I understand they wanted to like, kind of like, make him, you know, make a statement with him winning. So it was very unexpected in that sense. You know, and that was sort of 2 NXT guys in a row. I hope they don't make it like an NXT platform thing, You know, just that. I mean, it's cool for the NXT guys, but I don't know. That Cesaro win was like, I feel like set the bar. No pun intended. Get it? Before he was even doing the bar. It was a bad joke. But, you know, I would like to see, you know, just someone winning it that they can use it as sort of momentum. Like, 'cause to me, I see the Battle Royal as like, you know, giving it to someone who didn't get a slot on the main card and is like pissed off about it. So they win the Andre the Memorial Battle Royal, and then they use that post WrestleMania to sort of fuel their climb, you know, through the roster. Just sort of like, you should have been paying attention to me. I should have been on the main card, this and that. And like, what perfect guy? There's two guys this year that I can see, if I'm looking at it from that context, there's two guys that I could see winning it like that, and that's Samoa Joe or Rusev. You know? I think the Andre the Memorial Battle Royal is for the fans, something they just want to cheer for and have fun with. So why not make the winner a fun thing? And the only fun thing was when Cesaro won it. That's the only time it was fun, I think. You know? I don't think it was really that much fun any of the other years. But, you know, it's just a way for them to get everyone on the card. And, you know, they have their own weird decisions as to who wins what for whatever reasons. I just thought last year was just so silly with the whole Rob Gronkowski and you know, Mojo Rawley thing. I thought it was kind of silly, but I get why they did it. Headlines and stuff, mainstream media, blah blah blah. It's like, do you even need more press? Do you even need more? It's WrestleMania. Everyone's talking about it already. It's like, how much press do you need, really? Like, once the show is going on, everyone who's watching it is going to be watching it. You know, and everyone who didn't see it will probably see it anyway. You know, for other reasons than a Rob Gronkowski. I don't know. It's weird. I feel like a lot of favors get called in for stuff like that, you know? And that's what kind of always takes me out of it. It's like, oh, okay, well, okay, who made this favor? Who made this call? You know? I don't know. I don't ask for like context for everything that gets done in WWE, but I just would like some decisions to be thought about a little bit more. Like, if you have a celebrity show up in Andre, that makes sense, but don't have him win it. You know, like when Shaq showed up, that was kind of neat. It was like, oh, Shaq's here, okay, and then he had a little thing with Big Show, and that's it. That's all we needed. I don't need anything more than that. We got it. Shaq and Big Show in the ring. Great. Let's move on. Oh my god, I got powerbomb. Oh my god, they're beating me up. That could win it. That could win it, actually. Oh, but Ambrose, the lunatic fringe, just won't give up. Oh my god, these come on. Why did I do a weak B grapple? I should have just done a weak A grapple. That was my fault. Okay, come on. Don't double team me. Oh, come on. I'm just eating those punches. There we go. There it is. All right, let's escape for a little bit. Let's trip up someone. I'm gonna run a little bit. I'm gonna run, but I'm gonna psych him out. I missed. He's taunting me. He's taunting me with his. Oh, he's got the roses, huh? I extremely dislike. Speaking of weapons you could use in this game, I extremely dislike that they have all these joke weapons. Because, like, when I actually want to use a weapon, which isn't often, like, this is probably, like, the first time I've used a weapon in a very long time in playing this game. Only because I felt, like, compelled to. I'm playing with Dean Ambrose. But, hey, when they pull out those joke weapons when I'm actually looking for a weapon, and then I gotta, like, keep pulling a weapon out, it just wastes time. Boom! I thought I could maybe pin Farouk, but he got up. Do a taunt. Let me see. Alright, this is a good position to have. Darn it. I messed up there. I didn't press the right buttons. Ah, come on. I thought I grabbed... Yes. Oh, no. He blocked it. Oh, but I got a special. Yes. Perfect. Uh-oh. What am I doing? Oh, okay. That works out. That works out. All right. This is it. I feel it. Oh, no. He grabbed me. Counter it. Oh. I thought he was going to go for a hitting move. Uh-oh. It's getting fast here. I'm like getting really into this. I'm going to throw him out. Because I don't want to risk him countering me right there. I would not need that counter. Oh. Boom, head punch. Uh-oh. Oh! I knew it, too. I knew he was going for that clothesline. Oh, it's getting so intense here. The fight in Ambrose. Here we go. This is it. I feel it. I said that last time, but this is it. I feel it. It's so intense. Yes. 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 I think Farouk is the weakest. No, he's getting up. Shoot. Yes. Stay down, Bradshaw. Oh, Bradshaw's getting up. I have time. No, I don't. Ah, I should have, like... Let me see. Maybe Bradshaw won't break it. Thank you. Oh, I stole that one. I got really intense there at the end. I was banking on Bradshaw not breaking it up, and he didn't break it up. Thank you, Bradshaw. I appreciate that. I appreciate you as a ineffective teammate for Farouk. Oh, that's awesome. Sweet. Woo! Alright. Well, I'm going to do another one. But I'm going to take a little break. Just like a 1 minute, 2 minute break. I'm going to refill my water bottle. So maybe I'll just let the credits play. And I'll be back in like 2 minutes, 3 minutes. Just going to get some water. Stretch my legs out. And then I'll be back with... Let me see. What time is it? 2:14? Yeah, I could do another one. I could do it. I could squeeze in another one. Yeah, Bradshaw. Well, you know, I'm glad he didn't do it. He helped me out. He helped me out. I'm glad. Sometimes the AI, man, sometimes the AI is just not that smart. And you use it to your advantage. All right, I'll be right back. Oh, how about these names and these credits? Names and these credits make no sense. I guess that was the JBL and Bradshaw. Yeah, right? He just turned on Farouk. Bradshaw turning face live on Backlash. Ambrose and Bradshaw. Tag team title push. Ambrose and Bradshaw. New APA. That would be interesting, APA. Ambrose and Bradshaw. I'm surprised the Shield aren't a modern day APA. That would be actually kind of funny. If the Shield were a modern day APA, I'd be all in on that. I mean, the whole Hounds of Justice thing. Hey, Satama, how you doing? The whole Hounds of Justice thing would make sense. The next night on Raw, Farouk cutting a promo on how Bradshaw betrayed him. I like it. Ambrose Bradshaw against Farouk Rollins. Ooh, yeah. So we're in the timeline where Rollins betrayed Ambrose, and they didn't reunite. I like it. I like it a lot. Ambrose Bradshaw. Only in video games, man. Only in video games can we live out our wild fantasy booking scenarios, which is something I want to do more of. I really want to use these games as sort of like an outlet to express all the fantasy booking scenarios that I have bubbling in my mind. Alright, let's do King of the Ring. Let's see who the real King of the Ring is. Now let's do Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins, what tires I have? Bam, Shield. Ooh, all white Seth Rollins. When I first saw the Shield, I was thinking they would be a 3-man APA. They almost seemed like they were gonna be. They almost seemed like they were gonna be this this sort of 3-person APA. You know, coming in for justice, and then they broke them up. And they broke them up right when they were getting hot. They broke them up. I don't know. Still, that'd be another fantasy booking scenario. What if the Shield never broke up? Just never do it. Just avoid all of that nonsense with them breaking up. That'd be another thing I would like to explore. Here we go. Ambrose and Rollins. Boom. So I gotta win. Oh, he countered it. So I gotta win with Rollins so I can do more of the championship path. I like that you can change the titles, you know, in the regular exhibition matches. That's something that even modern 2K games have somehow made kind of complicated. I just don't know why they make everything so complicated in the newer games. I was trying to play WWE like 13 the other day, and like just trying to change like a regular title, and they wouldn't let me do it for whatever reason, like in the universe mode. And I was like, come on, I just want to change the freaking title. It was like so frustrating. What about fantasy booking for Undertaker's could have been WrestleMania 10 and 16 matches? 10 and 6. So he missed 16 because he was hurt. That was WrestleMania 2000, right? Seeing the Ambrose call on the match results screen. He looks pretty good. Thank you, thank you. Yeah, I was running out of options with choosing Hardcore Championship people, and I was like, you know what, let me look at my calls. And then I was like, why don't I just do an Ambrose run? Because I haven't really touched it since I made him for my video. The same thing with Rollins. Same thing with a lot of my calls. You know, I don't really... If I had friends who came over and played, you know, more, like this was like the year 2000, I'd probably be using my calls a lot more. But, you know, when I'm by myself, I don't really use the calls a lot. But I should start using them more, especially on the streams. But fantasy booking for WrestleMania 10 and 16. So 10 was, you had Bret Hart beating Yokozuna, right? That was 10. And then you had, so who was, I was actually just watching some of 10 too, because I was watching the Bret Hart, Owen Hart stuff. And then 16 was WrestleMania 2000. Well, you know, it's actually, ooh, It's actually funny because I'm actually doing a fantasy booking episode for WWF No Mercy for WrestleMania 2000. And I was thinking of throwing Undertaker in that 4-way instead of the Big Show. But I don't know if that would have made really any sense. I was trying to think of where to put, because the Big Show, because Undertaker wouldn't come back until Armageddon, right? I think it was Armageddon. No, it was the pay-per-view where The Rock and Triple H had the Iron Man. Was that Armageddon or was that Backlash? No, that wasn't Backlash. Shoot, I don't remember. I have to look it up. I forget all of it. But maybe, It's basic. It's more about like who was there at the time. WrestleMania 10 is an interesting one because I wouldn't change, you know, Michaels and Razor Ramon. I wouldn't change Owen Hart and Bret Hart. I wouldn't change Yokozuna and Bret Hart. I wouldn't change Luger. And would I change Luger and Yokozuna? Because was Taker even in that Royal Rumble? Which was the WrestleMania 18, when he fought The Rock the second time. He turned heel. Great match. Rock Austin, WrestleMania 18. I was shocked when he turned heel. I'm gonna have to think about WrestleMania 10 a lot. Because WrestleMania 20, you could insert him. So here's the thing. Another way you could do it, right, is that so Triple H effectively, you know, ended Mick Foley's career, quote unquote. Like that was the whole Judgment Day. Yes, I believe it was Judgment Day. You're right. That sounds like it. So the whole leading into the Triple H, and then, you know, Mick Foley coming in as part of the fourth person. You know, what I didn't like about that WrestleMania is that they made it all about the McMahons. So I think what I was really gravitating towards when I was, you know, with my upcoming fantasy booking thing, because I actually been working on like WrestleMania 15 first, and then I was going to work on WrestleMania 16. But what I've been gravitating is that I wouldn't have made it a 4-way. I would have made it just Triple H and The Rock as the main event, and The Rock would have gone over and won because they basically did that match at Backlash, and that was a much better match. And that's what should have been the WrestleMania finish. WrestleMania finish should have been The Rock and Triple H, and then The Rock gets his big like WrestleMania win that he never had. You know what I mean? So, I think the Triple H Foley angle was awesome. It was really well done. I really enjoyed it. But maybe what you could have done was you could have squeezed in a Mick Foley Undertaker one last match, and then maybe make it like a Buried Alive match or something. Like maybe Mick Foley, because you know it's still McMahon Helmsley regime, right? So maybe Mick Foley is done. His WrestleMania moment is gone. And maybe he doesn't go begging Triple H or whatever, but like, you know, maybe they feel sympathy for him. They made it a 4-way for the 4 McMahons. They basically made it all about the McMahons. They didn't make it about any of the wrestlers. They made it about the McMahons. So you could do that. You could do Undertaker and Mankind one last time and make it like a career-threatening match. You know, but if he beats the Undertaker, he can stay in WWE. But if he can't beat the Undertaker, he's gone from WWE forever. Even though they already did the whole gone from WWE forever with the Hell in a Cell, so maybe that wouldn't work as well to have 2 back-to-back gone forever. So what you could do is you could rewrite history and say, well, okay, yeah, in real life, Triple H and Cactus Jack had a Hell in a Cell, but what if Triple H is like, I beat you already, I don't want to fight you again, and then instead of Mick Foley fighting Cactus Jack, he says, you're gonna have to fight Undertaker at WrestleMania in a Hell in a Cell, and then you do the first Hell in a Cell at WrestleMania, and it's Cactus Jack against Undertaker, career-threatening match. So it's basically the match that they had, that Triple H and Undertaker and Cactus Jack had, but you scratch that, you erase that from history, and you do Cactus Jack and Undertaker WrestleMania Hell in a Cell. Yeah, that's when it was a little, it's interesting because, like, going back and watching it, the alliances make very little sense, and also the payoff makes very little sense, because basically at the end everyone gets back together except for Linda McMahon. Yeah, like Foley going out in the Hell in a Cell repeat, but we'll say that the Hell in a Cell with him and Triple H never happened. We'll say he had the street fight with Triple H, and then we don't see him for a while. Triple H maybe defends the title. Triple H defends the title against the Big Show at that next pay-per-view, so then we could get Big Show out of the 4-way, so then we could keep it Rock and Triple H, right? Okay, this is starting to work, I think. And then Foley comes back saying he wants a match, and Triple H is like, no, you're gonna fight. And then they're like, you're gonna fight Undertaker Hell in a Cell, and you're gonna put your career on the line. And then he takes it, and then he takes the challenge. Did I just get beat? Oh, I kicked out at 1. Oh, I'm a beast. Undertaker Big Show did have a break in their Unholy Alliance tag team about 16. Yeah, they could. That's another way too. I was looking at it, where to take Big Show out of the 4-way, you put him against Undertaker to sort of wrap up that feud that they were having, because I feel like that feud wasn't really settled because Taker got injured. I mean, that was the whole reason why Taker didn't show up at WrestleMania, and they were having that feud, so then they sort of put Big Show in there. So that would actually make a lot of sense too. Yeah, I think that's another way you could do it too. You could do Undertaker and Big Show, and then they could have that match. Although, I think on paper, Mankind and Undertaker Hell in a Cell 2, because they never had that rematch. Did they? They never had a Hell in a Cell 2, just them. Or am I forgetting something? Look at that knee. Bam. Oh, no. Yeah, that's crazy to think about. I'm thinking about that right now. Undertaker and Mankind. Because it was Undertaker and Shawn Michaels, and then Undertaker and Mankind, but they never had like another Hell in a Cell together. Isn't that crazy? That's crazy to think about. Or am I forgetting a match? Yeah, I think that was it. Isn't that crazy? I'm just now realizing that. Like, that was it. Just that, probably the most memorable. Wasn't the best Hell in a Cell. Let's be real. There was a lot of other Hell in a Cell matches that were really good that came after it, but definitely probably the most memorable. When I think Hell in a Cell, I think that match. That's the match that comes to mind first. And then I think of Taker Shawn, and I think of a few others. But Ambrose is putting up a fight. The exhibition matches are so much harder for some reason. The computer just loves to counter everything. Super kick. But yeah, you could do so for my fantasy booking series. What I'm planning on doing, I should have the episode up next week for WrestleMania 15. I'm gonna rebook the pay-per-views that are in the game using only the wrestlers in the game. So if I was doing, let's say, WrestleMania 2000, WrestleMania 2000, with WrestleMania 16, then I wouldn't be able to use the Big Show, even though I have a Big Show call, because Big Show wasn't in the game. So if I'm going with that sort of requirement, then I would do Undertaker and Cactus Jack. But if we're doing it without the requirement of just the game, just regular purposes, you could do Undertaker Big Show. You could do Undertaker Big Show. Yeah, I believe so. I believe he told them never to do anything like that again. Because they didn't know, no one knew what they were gonna do, and even Foley himself didn't really know that spot wasn't really planned. He just kind of, in the moment, was like, I need to start the match up above. And if you go back, if you watch the match again, I'm surprised that they were up there as long as they were, because even like right in the beginning, when Undertaker is like looking at him like, damn, I really gotta climb up there, and they're just walking, that link is falling through almost. Like they're just like that was not made for them to be up there wrestling. Flash forward to the most recent. Do I have time to do this other hardcore championship? I'm gonna see if I can try to squeeze this in. I want to wrap this up at 3, so I'm gonna see how far I get until 3 o'clock doing the hardcore championship. I don't know if I'll be able to finish all of it, but I could always just pick it up the next time. But you go back and watch it, and it just was not rigged for them to be up there. And even when Foley wasn't expecting to fall through the link. He even said it. He was like, I wasn't, like, when they went up there and he told Taker to throw him off, he was like, I hope I'll make it. But he wasn't expecting to be chokeslammed through the top. And you can even see Taker, who was very good at always staying in character. You can see his reaction, and it's not like Foley got any height off that chokeslam either. He just fell back because they knew it was wobbly, and he goes right through it. And even Taker, you could just see it on his face. He was like, "Holy shit, I just killed him." And that was really that was, and even Jim Ross said it. Like Jim Ross, was it King of the Ring? Yeah, I think it was King of the Ring. And it was something, man. It was something that could never be recreated. And you look at what the way the Hell in a Cell is now. I mean, with Shane and Owens, when they were up there fighting like that did not move. The top of that cage did not move at all because it was so secured and rigged for people to be up there fighting on top of it. So you can do moves. I think, did he powerbomb him up there? You can do all this stuff, and they had no really worries of it collapsing like that. But that first, and it wasn't the first Hell in a Cell because they did it with Shawn Michaels and Taker before that. But the way those first Hell in a Cells were designed, they weren't designed for people to go up there. And yeah, and Vince did not. He was like, we're never doing that again. Never do that again. That's crazy. And again, and this is going back to the whole, again, stepping in when wrestlers maybe take it too far. Yeah, there's definitely a time and place to take it. When a wrestler takes it too far, you got to rein them back a little bit. And I'm glad that, Vince wasn't like, we need you to go through the Hell in a Cell all the time. And the next time he went through the Hell in a Cell, he was protected because they planned it. So the next time when him and Triple H were up there and Triple H backflips him and he goes through, obviously it was rigged. The cage swings open, and he goes through the mat, and the mat's protected with padding. He lands right where he needs to land. It still probably hurt, but it definitely wasn't an unexpected hurt like when he went through the first time. Yeah, I don't think... You look at a lot of people in wrestling, and you kind of think like, oh, if they weren't around, so-and-so could have taken their place, I have to lose the 5th match, by the way. Chapter 5, I have to lose. You can even make arguments that if there wasn't a Hogan, you still had Flair, you still had Macho Man, you still had Warrior, you could have had so many people. Eventually you could have had someone else show up. But you look at the guys like Mick Foley, and it's like, yeah, if Mick Foley wasn't around, there wouldn't have been anyone who, not only with all the stuff he did with his hardcore matches and his stunts like that, but just also, like, I think what made it different with Mick Foley is that just everything about him was a complete package. The fact that he was someone who, quote unquote, wasn't what a stereotypical, champion would look like. The fact that his gimmick was so out there, so different, very psychological gimmick, as opposed to like just being this like big colorful character. Just him putting his body on the line, the sacrifices he did. There wasn't really anyone like that. There was death matches and everything, before him and after him, but I think even to this day, there's still not someone who has that sort of like emotional connection that the fans had with someone like Mick Foley. He was definitely one of a kind in that sense. You can't just recreate that spot and expect to get the same reaction like Mick Foley did, and now when people do spots like that, it's seen just sort of like as a cool stunt. It's never seen as like, oh, this person would die for this business, and that's how it was with Mick Foley, and like no one ever really wanted him to die for the business, the complete opposite. But and it was the kind of thing, it's like, okay, Foley, that was awesome, please don't do anything ever like that again, and he would still want to do crazy stuff. And it's like, because it was just in him, like that's the way he saw his art, that's the way he saw how he approached wrestling, and that's the way he connected to the audience. I don't think people would want to really see someone like that, really always doing that, if they already like him, you know what I mean? And people love Foley. Yeah, it all made sense. It would make sense that his character would be going through that kind of punishment, and he sort of set himself up for that. And I think he even said in another interview, like, he sort of would like kind of back himself into a corner because he had established, and it even went back before when he was Cactus Jack, before he got to WWF, and the stuff he would do as Cactus Jack, and that's what made his work in ECW very compelling too. He was only there briefly, but he would cut some really great promos talking about the stuff he would do and why he was doing it character-wise, and then how it was being misinterpreted by some fans, and the whole like "die Dewey die" sign and stuff like that, and he's like, you're getting it, you're getting this all wrong. He's like, I'm not doing this just for you, I'm doing this for myself also, and I'm putting my body on the line, I'm punishing my body on the line because that's the vision I have for wrestling, and that's the way he felt like he could contribute as an artist, and sort of also, stake his claim in the world of, at the time, Stone Cold and Vince McMahon and The Rock and, Big Show. He had to find his own little niche, and he had to do something that he knew the other people wouldn't do. I think Kevin Sullivan said that when he saw Mick Foley and Undertaker in the Hell in a Cell, he saw Foley fly out fly off the cage, he said, "We're done. We're done for. Like, there's no way we're gonna be able to compete, because not that we can't come up with any good storylines, but we don't have anyone on our roster like a Mick Foley, like a Cactus Jack." And that's why he said he knew they were gonna lose the war eventually, because he knew that WWE had Mick Foley, and that's all they needed, you know. And it's crazy. It's crazy to think about, like, how important. And even Jim Ross said, you know, he had a fight to bring Mick Foley into the company, because, you know, physically he wasn't what Vince McMahon pictured, you know, as being a top star. And Jim Ross brought him in to work the Undertaker, but Jim Ross knew, based off of having worked with Cactus in the past and knowing his personality, like, he would do anything to make a impact in WWE. And sure enough, he was right. He was right. He really did, because, I mean, some of the most memorable moments from the Attitude Era WWE come from Mick Foley. You know, not just you know, in-ring wise with all the stunts he would do, but also, like, character wise, you know, the Mr. Sacco, and, you know, Have a Nice Day, and you know, This Is Your Life, you know, the Rocket Sock Connection, and just all these things, Dude Love, the Three Faces of Foley, everything. There's so much stuff that he contributed, you know, and there really won't be another one like him, I think. You know, I think he's definitely one of those. Like, you can make an argument for a lot of cases for other people that, you know, we'll see someone reminiscent of them, but I don't think we'll ever see another Mick Foley. Just the passion he had is just, it's just out there. It's out of control. And it was always to himself. It was always like, no, you don't have to go through the cage with me. Just let me do it. You know, let me do it. Like, I think it was only with, like, Edge, where, like, Edge went through the burning table with him, you know. But most of the time it was just like, no, I'll take all the punishment. Hold on, I just gotta switch. They raised the bar too high. Like, well, I mean, he raised the bar. He raised the bar too high, because, again, it wasn't, he didn't tell anyone that he was doing it. And you know, what they talked about at that time was that it was so competitive, not just for Vince McMahon and, you know, Ted Turner, but it was also competitive for the wrestlers. They really did feel like they were in a quote unquote war, that they would always trying to push themselves. And yeah, and I think you can push the bar too high sometimes, but you don't realize you're pushing it too high when you're doing it, because you're just trying to do something that gets a reaction, that gets people talking. And sometimes you get so caught up that you don't think about, like, oh, in 15 years, is this going to have, like, a long-term effect where no one's going to be able to top this? And even if you have that thought, at the moment, you're like, yeah, so what if no one can top this? But then at the same time, when you look back at it in retrospect, you're probably like, oh, you know, it's a shame I did that, because now no one could top it, you know? Yeah, I mean, you know, and it was funny. It was the second Hell in a Cell. And realistically, like, in terms of the stunts that have been done in the Hell in a Cell, nothing's been able to top it. And they've done, like, how many Hell in a Cells since then? Over how many years? You know, that was the second one, and that's it. They peaked. This is it. Can't do anything better than this. Let's keep doing it for the next 15 years and have a whole pay-per-view over it, even though we know we can never top those matches. Because I think also what also gets kind of, you know, what people kind of forget about is the Taker-Shawn match before that. That was really good. That they kind of had a perfect match within that Hell in a Cell that you really can't, you know, duplicate. Yeah, I don't think anyone. There's been other really good Hell in a Cell matches. There's been other really good Hell in a Cell matches, but I think when everyone thinks Hell in a Cell, they're gonna think Mankind and Taker, you know, and that's just, I gotta lose this match. Just looking at my notes, I gotta lose this match. But let me just let me see how many, because they've done a lot. I gotta lose this match against Taz. So Taz, hurry up and choke me out. Hardcore. Alright. Beat me up, Taz. Yeah, I mean, the Triple H Cactus Jack match was good at No Way Out. The Armageddon 6-man match was okay. Triple H Jericho was okay. Lesnar Undertaker No Mercy 2002. I haven't watched that in a long time, but I don't remember much of it, so maybe that says enough. Triple H Nash was whack. Triple H Shawn Michaels Hell in a Cell was good. I remember that one. Triple H Shawn Michaels Bad Blood 2004. That was good. Batista Triple H was good. Shockingly, Triple H has been in a lot of good Hell in a Cell matches. Undertaker Randy Orton. I probably fell asleep because it's Randy Orton. DX against... Oh, I didn't like that one at all. Batista and Undertaker. That one was good. But I like the Undertaker-Batista WrestleMania match better. Undertaker Edge. I don't think I saw that one. I don't think I saw Undertaker Edge SummerSlam 2008. Undertaker CM Punk was good. Like, they've just been good. You know, they've been good matches. Randy Orton Cena was whack. DX against Legacy was bad. Randy Orton and Sheamus I did not care for. Kane and Undertaker was meh. I remember that. And this is when they're doing like Hell in a Cell pay-per-views now. The 5-man Hell in a Cell, I was no, that was a dark match. I'm thinking of another match. I'm thinking of the Elimination Chamber match. Mark Henry Randy Orton wasn't terrible, but it could have been a lot better. Del Rio Cena and Punk could have. I remember watching that and I was thinking like you didn't need the Hell in a Cell for that one. Undertaker Triple H WrestleMania, that was good, but I liked their other WrestleMania match. I felt like this one was unnecessary in the Hell in a Cell. And again, I guess that speaks to more having like, you know, Taker and Mankind should have had a WrestleMania match. Oh, I have to pay the money for this one. Pay the money. Pay the man. Pay the money. Sweet. Damn, I only got $600 left. And then I gotta win the last 2 matches. Sweet. I got 10 minutes. 10 minutes to finish this. Yeah. CM Punk and Ryback was whack. CM Punk and Ryback again. I remember that. I just did not like the CM Punk Ryback feud. Orton and Daniel Bryan. That was a Hell in a Cell match? I don't remember that one. I don't remember the Hell in a Cell match. Cena and Orton in the Hell in a Cell match. Rollins and Ambrose, that was okay. Reigns and Bray Wyatt. I remember a lot of people liked that match. I didn't like that match. Brock Lesnar and Undertaker again in the Hell in a Cell. I liked that match, but again, it didn't need to be in the Hell in a Cell. Didn't care for Undertaker, Shane McMahon, Hell in a Cell. We were all just waiting for him. Let's be real. We were all just waiting for him to jump off the Hell in a Cell. Roman Reigns and Rusev was okay. I mean, that was a very physical match. That was a very competitive match. I liked it because I think, you know, again, I think Roman Reigns is underrated for how good he is in the ring sometimes. So him and Rusev, they had good chemistry in that match. But again, didn't need to be in the Hell in a Cell. Owens and Rollins, same thing. Like, you could have had that match outside of the Hell in a Cell. Charlotte Flair and Sasha Banks. It was good for the moment. But again, didn't need the Hell in a Cell. A lot of the matches lately, you know, Usos and New Day was fun, but again, because the stunts just can't top. Yeah, there's been a lot. I was just reading all the Wikipedia stuff. Because the stunts, the moral of the story is because the stunts just can't top Mick Foley and Undertaker. all the matches have been okay depending on the feud, but really it comes down to, if you're gonna have a Hell in a Cell match, then that needs to be part of the story. Otherwise, don't have a Hell in a Cell match. And when you've had it for so long over the years, to me, it just becomes another match. And that shouldn't be the case. That this structure that gets built over the ring is just another match. It's just like another match. Like if you would just Photoshop it out, the match wouldn't change. You know? Yeah, Charlotte and Sasha, they could have had a last woman standing, you know, or they could have done an Iron Woman match, because the Sasha Bailey Iron Woman match was really good. So I would have liked them to see, and especially it kind of would have made more sense to do an Iron Woman match with Charlotte, especially if Charlotte was going to go over, than to do a Hell in a Cell with Charlotte going over, because none of the women have really painted themselves to be like hardcore that this necessitates a Hell in a Cell. But if you're gonna have, if the whole point is like they're like trading the title back and forth, and they're trying to see who's the best, it would make more sense to be like sort of a last person standing, you know. So it's because like then they just can't get up at the count of 10, or they should have had an Iron Woman match. Because then you could have worked it around the fatigue and their submission finishers. Again, Hell in a Cell, it's like, if you're not going to do a stunt, and if you're not going to do a stunt that's compelling, or if it's not really going to add to the feud to be in this, you know, violent match, then why do it? Because a lot of matches on that list, you can watch the match, you can Photoshop the cage out of it, and it wouldn't change a thing, you know. And I think that's the problem. I think making a whole pay-per-view based around it, where you're forcing people to have matches, I think that's another big problem. It kills the match. It ruins the match. The same thing with the TLC matches. And even I was listening to Edge and Christian's podcast recently. I got to do this match in 5 minutes, record time. Shouldn't be too hard. Sorry, Taz, I'm gonna have to squash you, so don't give me a hard time. Ugh. Even like you said earlier, like, you know, they set the, like, they raised the bar too high. I was listening to the Edge and Christian podcast recently. Oh no, I was listening to Edge and Christian on Stone Cold's podcast, and you know, Stone Cold was talking to them about those TLC matches and the ladder matches, and even, you know, in retrospect, Edge and Christian felt like they did too much, that they set the bar too high, because now you can't have a TLC match without comparing it to theirs, and they did almost everything that could be done. That, you know, the fact that they've made it like normalized kind of like ruins the match, and it also kind of ruins the legacy of it, you know, because eventually you've done it so many times that people will forget why those first few matches were important, why those first few matches mattered, because they've seen so many bad ones, you know. And that's always my fear. When you start normalizing certain matches, then every time they pop up, instead of people getting excited, people are just like, oh, another one, you know, like, oh, another one, another Hell in a Cell. I wonder what they're going to do this time. And that shouldn't be the thing. It should be like, oh, Hell in a Cell, only the most dangerous wrestlers enter a Hell in a Cell. Only the most dangerous, you know, matches happen in Hell in a Cell. Like, it should be this, like, sort of, like, scary excitement. You know, like, oh, we haven't seen a Hell in a Cell in 6 years. You know, it must be really serious that we're seeing it now. They must really hate each other. You know, like that. That's the kind of feeling I wanna get when I watch a Hell in a Cell match. Phoenix Splash. Oh, totally forgot that I could do the Phoenix Splash. Haven't done it at all this run. But yeah, man, it's gonna be interesting. I'm gonna see. I'm gonna have to think about it a lot for when I do my WrestleMania 2000 fantasy booking. I'll probably have my WrestleMania 2000, WrestleMania 15 video. Because it's so weird, because WrestleMania 15 is in WrestleMania 2000, but WrestleMania 16 is in WrestleMania 2000, but they call it WrestleMania 2000. So It's weird. But even in WrestleMania 15, they don't even have the arena. They just have the WrestleMania 2000 in the background. So it's all madness. But I figured I'd keep it WrestleMania 15 for WrestleMania 2000 the game, because that's what it would have been. I'll explain it all in the video. It's a complicated thing, but Undertaker is a key figure in my fantasy booking for the WrestleMania 2000. And I guess also in 15 as well, because who did he fight in 15? In 15, he fought... because it was The Rock and Austin. In 15, Undertaker fought the Boss Man in the Hell in a Cell match. Yes! And speaking of Hell in a Cell matches, that match was awful. That match was really bad. I would totally change that match. That could have been another good place to do Undertaker Mankind 2. Because Mankind fought the Big Show to become the special guest referee for the final match, and that was unnecessary. So you could have done Undertaker Mankind 2, and it would have made more sense to do it that WrestleMania. Interesting. Yeah, when they hung him, when they basically killed the Big Boss Man live on screen, and then he was back a few weeks later. It was like, what was the point of that? So like, it was like Undertaker couldn't murder Mankind the last time he was in Hell in a Cell, so he's gonna try to murder someone now. Like, come on, like, give me a break. But also, like, you know, and no disrespect to Big Boss Man, but like, I mean, Big Boss Man did not fit the bill for that. There was so many other people you could have put in that match if you were going to do. You had Kane was available. You know, you had Mankind available. You know, you could even done like, you know, you could have thrown the hardcore people in there, you know, Al Snow and Hardcore Holly at the time, make it like a handicap match or something. You could have put Ken Shamrock and Undertaker in a Hell in a Cell, because then that actually would have made sense, because like Ken Shamrock being in the Octagon, you know, and the most dangerous man against the Phenom, like that could have actually been kind of interesting. Undertaker and Ken Shamrock in a Hell in a Cell. But oh well, that's gonna end it for today. I'm gonna call it wraps on today's stream. Thank you guys so much. Sorry that I didn't realize the chat wasn't working in the first part of the stream. But now I know there was something wrong with my Google Chrome, so I'll just use a different browser next time. But I will probably stream. I probably will stream Monday. Either Monday or Tuesday. I'll probably stream Monday. If I don't watch Strong Style Evolved live, I'll probably watch it Monday morning and then stream right after. Or if things get too crazy, I'll probably stream Tuesday morning. But I'm definitely gonna shoot for either Monday or Tuesday to stream. But thank you so much, Satama. Thank you so much, Michael, for joining me on this stream. It's been fun, and have a good weekend. I'll see you next week. Take care. Thank you. Keep watching all the wrestling.